Horizontal is going live. Vertical is going live. There we go. And then we'll double check
Oh,
that
I'm
they're
floating.
actually live. You don't want to float?
No, I do.
Actually, I like that background.
I took this picture like
Yeah,
last week.
yeah, that's good. I like that. Your other space background is not as cool as that one. Where'd
Which
you
one?
take it at? The one you got right now.
My backyard.
Oh,
Do you mean the do you mean this one is not as cool?
no, no. There's another one that you do on your Ask a Physicist live, usually, I think.
Oh, yeah. That one's a JWST one. That one's like a proper telescope.
Right.
This is just one I took with my backyard telescope.
Okay. We should be live on all the channels now. Let me go live
You know
on
who else is
TikTok.
live?
Who's that?
Kent Hovind.
No way.
Yeah, he is.
I would love to talk to Kent Hovind one day. The problem is you can't have a real conversation with Kent, so you basically just have to troll him. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could call in. If we don't have any guests, we could call in. It's 855 Big Dino.
No way. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Jeez. 855 Big Dino is crazy.
I know.
That's the
But we
that's
could call in.
the that's how you know it's all a ruse. Big Dino has put you up to believing in dinosaurs even though they're not real. Or actually he believes they live with humans. Oh goodness. Well, this is what we live with now. I do actually have a friend. Oh yeah, we should join up on TikTok. Who don't think that dinosaurs existed at all.
That's rough.
Yeah, like Candace Owens type stuff. It's weird. It won't surprise you to learn that he's also done no research at all.
Oh, of course. What is his day job?
Substitute teacher. So,
That
in,
that's ooh, that's
ins-
bad.
instructing the minds of our youths. Although subs don't
Or
really.
Utes?
Yeah, that's an old reference
Yeah, it is.
before your time.
No. I
I'm gonna go live real quick. I'm gonna go live real quick, and hopefully it wasn't dead long enough for the streams to go down.
it doesn't look like it did.
It
Looks like we're
does
still
give
live
you like a
on.
window.
Yeah. Looks like we're still live on YouTube.
We should be good to go. That was weird. OBS usually isn't like that.
Weren't you just
Now,
talking up the new update?
see, I shouldn't have done it. I cursed
Somebody was doing
myself.
some vibe coping.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it was. Okay, so we've got cap.kg in here, and usually cap is wants to
Oh,
cry about philosophy. So should we
I
hold him
we
off
should
till
wait till
Ian's
Ian.
here?
I
Yeah,
invited Cap to come on this week. Um,
yeah,
and because he wants to talk about fine tuning, which fine. But Cap, just give it a sec, because Ian will be here in about, well, soon, and
right.
you know what he's more philosophically informed than either of us are. So
Now I've got to redo the virtual
still no
camera.
video. Oh, now we're wide.
What? On
We're
TikTok, you
wide.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm fixing it right now. Don't worry about that.
I'm always worried about it.
You should. Don't worry. We're good. Yeah, when OBS crashed, it messed up the virtual cam.
Makes
So
sense.
I was looking into the software requirements for running virtual cameras. Boy, what a nightmare. In order to install a virtual camera on Windows, you have to have a developer license. You can't just write code and magically it appears. I mean, there's a kind of way to do it, but in order to use Windows system to capture the hardware, I mean, it's like 500 bucks a
Really.
year just to have a developer license for Windows. Why are they doing that? That's crazy. $500 a year just to be a developer?
What about for Apple products?
Apple's like I think it's $99 a year. Yeah, it's 99 bucks.
Still not great. Somebody said cool pic. Well, look, I took this picture with my backyard telescope. Um, this picture I think is based on like 7 hours of imagery, 7 hours of data, and then I used it is enhanced. Contrast was boosted and things like that in software. Um, but like this is like a real picture of something called the Trifid Nebula. There's even a little bit of blue. Those are oxygen lines. These are hydrogen lines. And if you want, no, I shouldn't shill on Unapologetic on an unrelated show, but you can go find out my shilling for it elsewhere. My shilling for this telescope because it's so cool.
So do you personally? I think you were talking before. You do own a telescope now, right?
Well, yeah. So like 2 months ago,
Yeah.
or a few months ago, a company contacted me. They're like, "Hey, we love your content. Do you want to make content for us? Do you want to do a sponsored video for us? We'll send you a telescope."
Oh, no
And I'm
way.
like, "Okay, yeah." So they sent me the telescope, and I love the thing. It's so fun. So I literally put it out every night, and like I put it out every night. I align it. Takes like 15 minutes to align it or 10 minutes to align it, depending on how lucky I am. And then I go inside, and then I just tell it what to do from my phone overnight, and I just get new cool data. Super cool.
That is cool. Everyone knows how much I love Liquid Death now that I'm not like drinking pop anymore. And during a stream like a week or maybe 3 weeks ago, I held it up. I was like, Liquid Death, contact me for a sponsorship. And then I fucking got an email from Liquid Death, but it was only for affiliate marketing. Like I get like 15% of all the sales through my link. I was like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I want like a
Yeah,
true
so
advertising
I do
gig.
get affiliate links. So I do get affiliate, like 8% of all of the telescopes, but also they paid me to make the videos, and we're
Mm,
in negotiations to do another one because, the video they did got like 200,000 views.
yeah.
So, and I think they also got like 2 grand worth of purchases from the video. So
Oof.
at least
Anyways, I'm gonna
you're muted.
what? I got muted.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Hold on.
I
In
can hear
Video
you now.
Ninja? Oh, well, just to be sure, Blitz, your connection, and I don't know why, but your connection is giving me gray, not gray, I mean green bars every once in a while, but mostly yellow bars.
One sec, let me try something.
Yeah. Hey friends, welcome in. We're waiting on Ian. Ian, he'll be here shortly, and then we'll get our first guest in here, unless we get another guest who doesn't want to talk philosophy. But the um the link to join if you're on TikTok is just the guest request button. The link to join if you're not on TikTok, however, is tiny.cc/UA guest. Put that into your browser. It'll take you to a Video Ninja guest room, and then you'll be in queue. You don't have to have your camera on. It does help. You don't have to sign up for anything. We don't need any of your personal information. It's literally just a holding tank um, where we can see who's waiting to get in. And we have one person waiting to get in that said they want to do a sound check. Wouldn't hurt. Let's double check them. Let's see. Let's get the right scene open though.
Just make sure you don't show their video. They might be that one guy.
Yeah, right. Welcome in sound
It's not
check.
that one guy. Hello. Yeah,
Hey, how
it's
you doing, buddy?
Anka. I'm
I
just
thought
checking.
this
I
was
can
Anka.
hear you really well, and I can hear Blitz really well. It's all
Good.
good.
Okay.
Can the stream,
Should be.
Yeah,
can
if
the chat
you're,
hear everything okay?
they should be able to.
I
If
hope
y'all
so.
can hear Anka, let us know. Just put Anka in the chat. They're saying Blitz has
Yeah.
escaped from his cage. I didn't
Yes,
know
now I'm
you
out.
Not
were.
cage.
I didn't know he was
Well,
caged.
see, usually when you're working on a blackboard, the reason why we work on blackboards is because they lock us in, and that's the only thing that we can do to get out
True.
and get our dinner for the night. But they let me out, and this time I just didn't go in, and now I'm in space.
Well,
They're putting Anka in chat. That's good.
yeah, we appreciate the
Yep, should be good to go.
appreciate the help, buddy. Hope you're doing
I
well.
have one question, if it's okay.
Sure.
Like
Sure,
a
sure.
really short one.
Yeah.
Is there anything besides this one story in the Bible that talks like anything that says that masturbation is wrong? Because I can't remember one story, like out of
N-
context with
No.
spilling the
Oh,
seed.
no. There's not. Okay, so there's two ways to address this. First, spilling the seed wasn't the problem. It actually wasn't about masturbation. So when
Yeah.
Onan got killed, it was because he deceived his sister-in-law. He was supposed to go into his sister-in-law and provide a son for his deceased brother to carry on the lineage. That's levirate marriage. He said he was going to do that, but rather than trying to provide a son, he would pull out. So he was tricking her to, have sex with her.
I don't know how
Yeah.
she would figure this out. or how she wouldn't figure this out. Like,
because these stories always have plot holes. But so that's why he got in trouble. However, there is an interesting thing where you're unclean if you have like a nocturnal emission because it would like get on you. Now this is a ritual uncleanliness. It's not like a moral uncleanliness necessarily. So you could make the case that, well, masturbation would fall into the category of uncleanliness because it's related to
then you just
nocturnal
go take a bath in the
emissions.
mikvah and you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you might have to wait 7 days, but it's not. So it's not really a sin. It's more of a ritual, a purity issue, which can be addressed.
As
Yeah,
simple as having a
that's
period.
basically it. Because I thought that if Bible said something else about like how masturbation is bad or even a sin, then there could be a funny argument to make how basically if man and woman make a if they marry, they became like flesh. So they basically one person. So when they have sex, they actually masturbate. So then they sin. But it's more like a funny argument. It's not really that big
Right.
of a deal.
Kind of a tongue-in-cheek argument.
Yeah, yeah,
I get that. Yeah, they are fun to do some tongue-in-cheek arguments. I'll give you that.
yeah. Have a good stream. I hope you will get some good callers today.
Well, thanks,
should.
Anka. Have a great one, buddy.
Bye bye.
Okay. Is he on their way here?
They must be. They've been responding on
Okay.
Discord.
Well, then I'm going to read some super chats, friends. In fact, let me make sure I have the super chat up here first, or the super chat display up here. I think it's about right. We'll find out. Let me click on one. If not, I'll throw it up real quick. Oh, it showed up, but it is on the wrong layer. 1 second. I got the image above it. There we go. We want to put that way down here. Way down here. Okay. Also, by the way, friends, there are links to our No God Debate Tour in the description of the video. We're going to be doing an October public debate, and then it looks like a November public debate, and we don't know what's going on after that. But
Two November public debates,
two of
actually.
them. Should be exciting.
Yeah, you're going to have to come out to California. Have you been to You must have been to California.
Just
right?
once or twice. Yeah, I was out
Okay,
there recently for the California meetup for our Discord.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Well, yeah, we'll be in San Fran, which only people not from San Francisco say. We'll be in Los Angeles, and we'll be in Bronxlandia,
Right.
in the Bronx, in New York City. So it should be good. It should be a very good time.
Yeah, I'm excited. But let's grab our super chats and then we'll answer some questions perhaps and chat with the audience. And then Ian should be here shortly. Seabar, good to see you, my friend, says W Blitz, Ian, and Justin. Well, thanks, Seabar. Super appreciate that, friend. And from
Always
Furtive
appreciated.
Patak, Furtive says, Sunday Tives, happy unapologetic day. Thank you, Furtic. Appreciate that. Furtive. I just said Furtic. Man, that's a unfortunate Freudian slip. He was a pastor, Stephen Furtick. Weird one. Oh, wait, you guys might not know what he's most famous for. Oh.
I have no idea who this person even is.
Ian's not here yet. I have to show y'all
You have a story?
a funny clip that I don't want to say it's gonna blow your mind, but it's really funny. Hold on. Let's see. It's in rhyme, so we'll see what happens here. I want to make sure I get the short clip. There it is. Okay, pause. All right. Some of y'all are gonna know this clip. Some of y'all might not know this clip yet, and it's wild. But before I can show it to y'all, I do have to put it into the soundboard because it'll give me 1 second. I'll throw the Safari web browser up here, and you'll be able to hear it. And we're gonna send this to everybody. All right, and then let me put it on screen. This really is a wild ass clip. And just if you ever wondered, do pastors like lie sometimes when they're on stage? The answer is yeah, and you're about to watch it.
Oof.
It's a funniest thing though. All right, Let's start from the beginning. We only need like 30 seconds of this video.
With him I'll stay. The wealth of his children hope one day. I know every anthem like a thief in the night. I know them all. Keep the beat going. Keep the beat going. I'm clapping. I'm praising. I feel like I just snorted cocaine or something. I'm so excited. And I never did that before. For the record. For the record. For the record. For the record. But I'm clapping my hands. All of a sudden, Abby started.
That's it.
He definitely was lying about having never done cocaine, right?
Yup. Yup.
By the way, I just sent you the updated tour
Oh, nice.
poster to use that
Perfect.
instead. Well, I sent it in the in Discord, so that should be.
Yeah, I'll replace the old one real quick. Yeah, so I don't know exactly. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, no guarantees that he's done cocaine, but
There are few guarantees in life, but there are some things that you can say are. My Bayesian analysis would lead me to believe that this man has been doing some stuff in his nose. Oh boy. All right, let's get the new one up here. Bada bing, bada boom, we got it. Oh, this one's a wider format. No God
I can get you
debate
the narrower.
tour. That's
I can get you
fine.
the narrower one too.
Yeah, we'll do them both. All right, friends, we're gonna grab our super chats here, and Ian should be here shortly. We do have one guest we can take before Ian comes in. Ian should be here like within like the next minute or two, though. From Elliptistic says, can we get a call to not a doctor? Can't help it. I see what you did there. I think it would be fun.
If there was a way, I mean, if we had it routed in so that you could call from your phone and then we could all talk to him,
Well, we
that
can.
would be great. And so you have, I know that we did that when I was
The
in
way
town,
you and
but-
I were doing it. Yeah, I can
but
write the audio
is it
to.
easy, is it easy enough to set up? Because we had a lot of trouble.
It's pretty easy. Yeah. We had trouble because the phone app on Mac was just buggy for some reason.
Right.
But the biggest problem we had was our headphones, remember? They just
That's
weren't
true.
working.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You know what, maybe if not this week, we'll pick a week like a Sunday to do that, and
Okay.
we'll let you know in advance because I think it would be a lot of fun. And Base to Shara, great to see you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, 25 days and some change till Texas Panhandler comes over again. No kids or roommates oh shit. So no one will be able to hear his screams. Holy shit. Please do not come to this man's rescue. I got to be honest, I wouldn't dream
What
of
is
it.
happening?
These two are having a secret public romance.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, strange to send a super chat about it, but hey, kudos to you.
You know what? We're all rooting. Well, at least in my community, we're all rooting for
Is it
them.
illicit or is it like, two single people?
No, they're single.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's not illicit. Don't worry about that. Yeah, we're good there.
Yeah, I wouldn't advertise that if it was, I guess.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it's good. But they've been cuddling up now for a couple of months now, it seems. And huge congrats. Johnny Wani, listen, join the Deconstruction Junction. You might find your soulmate, y'all. Johnny Wani says, well, thank you for a $20 super chat, too. Longtime viewer, just wanted to thank all of you for inspiring me to do independent study of physics and philosophy. It has been a super fulfilling journey so far, and there's still so much I don't know. That makes me too. Physics is it's a deep science. There we go. Texas Panhandler. Speaking of which, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for super chat. Base to Share told me to tell you that I am not in distress.
Exceptionally funny.
These marks around my eyes are my own. I did them to myself.
The bruises on my neck. I asked for it.
That's right. And Sans in the building, my friend. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Happy Sunday from myself and Dipshit Savant from sunshiny Arizona. Rock hard for Doug and Lava. Hell yeah. Sans, I hope you're doing well, friend. and tell dipshit that we said hi. Now we're gonna get flagged for abusive language. I gotta
How could you?
The new UG, think of it as super chat, says archaeologists have carbon dated no body on fire, last rebuttal to the late Bronze Age. Experts say it may finally reach its conclusion sometimes Tuesday.
That sounds about right.
Who's nobody on fire?
I have no idea, but it sounds funny.
Oh. Okay. Well, new UG, thanks for the update. Appreciate that. Let's get straight out astray. That's what it says. Okay. And we'll get a. I think.
Oh, I know this guy.
I think I've talked to Straight.
I think I've spoken with him a few times as well.
Yeah. It's still loading.
I think I've spoken with.
And he's dropped. Oh, he's in. Hey, Straight, you've got some weird background noise. Like I hear some.
Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi. One sec. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. First off, you guys make the claim. You need to prove your claim. You guys are just rage baiting.
Oh, I remember
You
this
don't
guy.
know any better than anybody else. You know
This
any
guy's a
better
crash
than
out
anybody
king.
else. Prove your fucking claim. Prove it.
Is
I
this
think I
guy
just
like
talked to
Deathless
this guy
Light but higher
like
pitched?
a week ago.
See, you little
Yeah, I
pussies
think so
can't
too.
prove your fucking own claim.
Yeah, hold
Children
on.
make
Let me
claims that
show you
they
when
can't
I
prove,
think I
dumbasses.
talked to him.
You guys are
just
dumbasses.
last
Prove your
week.
claim,
Right.
cowards.
Let me
see if I can
Prove
figure
your
out.
fucking
I
claim.
think like last week.
Let's see.
Or
One
run
second,
like a
pull up my
bitch
list,
like you did
too.
last time, Blitz. Blitz, me and you need to debate,
Oh,
bro, on
the crash
several
out's
topics.
wild.
On several topics, but you're a
I'm
pussy and
sure.
you won't do it. All right, straight
sure.
up.
Oh, he hasn't been
You need to
to.
prove your fucking claim. Prove your fucking
hasn't been on
He's
claim.
not on my list. Let me see.
Hey, straight out of stray. Have you ever entered a conversation while not at a 10?
No,
Say again. Hey, asswipe, prove your claim.
he is not.
Wait, did you hear what I said?
Asswipe, prove your. You sound four. You sound four, Blitz. Shut the fuck up. You want to be a smart ass because you're dodging. You're
This
dodging the
guy's
heart of the
really
matter.
making himself look good.
I know, right?
Hey, you know, both of your little pussies that make claims that you can't prove. Prove your claim. Prove it.
So which guy do you believe in?
I don't believe in a God. I don't know if there's a God, you dumbass. Nobody knows,
Oh,
retard.
that's why I kicked you last
Oh,
time.
he wants
Is
death
Prove
by,
your
because
claim,
he wants
dumbass.
death by mod.
it's because you're not a theist and you use the R slur again. That's why. It's exactly why I kicked you last time. I remember now.
It makes sense.
Yeah. You remember when people come in and they say, "Well, you should believe in God, because it'll like improve your life. You know, it'll make you feel
It's so true.
fulfilled." And I'm not inclined to believe that that's true based on what we keep seeing on here.
It's not. It's impossible, actually.
But I am going to write them down on my spreadsheet at least, even though
Just
I
as like a
don't.
crash out king.
Yeah, even though I don't want to clip them, I just want to make sure I've got him documented so that it's
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to use the stream software, by the way, to like just
Yeah.
get the chats, and I still can't figure out how to make it work.
Okay, hold on. So what have you done so far? You basically just have to add. You just got to stage up the two shows.
If I go to stream, if I go to connections, no, not connections. If I go to stream archive, it says that one's active and one's waiting, or one's active and waiting. What else do I have to do?
Yeah. So the easiest way is to I would go to. You're on stream archive already, right?
Yeah.
Page. Because I did move some stuff around. You don't need to go off of the monitor page anymore. There's a button called
Okay.
Connect
the stream
Streams
monitor.
in the upper right hand
Yep.
corner. When you click that button,
see
it's
it.
going to open up a menu. And
Mhm.
then on the left side, it says selected channel. You can select a channel in there. And then do find live or
I don't-
scheduled broadcasts.
Do you mean link an account
Below that.
or add stream key?
Below that. There's
Stream key, ingest, name,
nope.
canvas.
I'll show you.
It's fine. We can worry about it later.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
figured since Ian looking manicured today.
No way.
Ian looking like a proper Roman emperor that probably killed his uncle.
Damn.
Are you calling me inbred? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
I'm calling you like Mediterranean beard and curly hair.
True, true. Just wait till it dries. I'll be so overpowered.
I believe it.
Are we live?
We are.
Buddy, we are.
We've been
We are
live for a while.
live.
Yeah. That's what I was assuming.
We had one crash out, and now we've got Cap KG who has come in to absolutely cook you, Ian. Do you think you're ready?
That
Yeah,
is
I
my fault.
see.
I did invite him onto the live because I spoke with Kylo and he like failed to defend his Catholicism, and then I talked to Cap and Cap's like, yeah, he's Catholic. I don't know why he was pushing like atheism, but anyway, I invited Cap on because that's when I'm gonna be here. So he wants to talk about fine tuning. We can talk about fine tuning.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, what's going on?
we got Cap on stage this time, we got Cap on stage now. So, Cap, refresh my memory a little bit. What's your religious background? Are you a theist or do you have a religion?
Yeah, at the moment I'm a proud Catholic.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice. Love that
And
for you.
it sounds like you already have an argument that you wanted to run, so I guess I'll just let you do it.
So I believe the last time I discussed with Ian, we talked about, the KG ontological argument for God. This time I want to discuss specifically the fine-tuning argument, the variation by Robin Collins. I'm here to get maybe Dr. Blitz's opinions on the argument and Ian's opinions on the argument.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just lay out how the argument goes. It's a pretty simple argument. We start with the Bayesian likelihood principle, of course. It just wants to a piece of evidence
His
confirms
audio
the
cut-
Yeah, his audio's cutting out for me.
hypothesis, over H2.
I think that might be a
given
Justin
background
problem
knowledge.
though, because Justin also
Really?
looks like he's lagging. Yeah. So sorry,
We're
Cap.
lagging?
There's like some sort of network issue.
Let me do a speed test real quick. Hopefully it's not Video Ninja, or hopefully it's not my network fucking again. It's crazy. It never does this when I stream. It's like almost always on a Sunday morning. There's got to be some bullshit going on. But let me do an Ookla speed test.
UCLA?
Not quite.
Ookla?
Yeah, that's what he meant.
I graduated Ookla. Just kidding, I didn't. That's stolen valor.
It is stolen valor. I was accepted to UCLA for grad school and I turned them down.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a
Holy
reason why?
Fuck.
The stipend was
Not lagging for you guys?
for LA. The stipend was low, so I would have had to scrounge for money. And
I see.
the vibe was just it was too competitive's not the right word, but it felt very non-collaborative. Like
Sure,
everybody
I
seemed like
see.
they were out for themselves.
I see.
I didn't like that.
There's this is like a random physics derail, but I was having dinner. So my girlfriend's friend's boyfriend is a PhD student at Hopkins.
And Sean Carroll is coming up.
For physics, no, but it was something about like the secretiveness of like physics research, that he was working on this one project for like months for his like PhD dissertation, and then out of nowhere somebody from a different lab drops like basically the exact same paper, and his thesis advisor was like, oh yeah, I was skiing with him just the other day. I was skiing with this guy who dropped this, who published this like just the other day, and he didn't mention anything like it, anything about it. I don't know. Sounds secretive.
Well, so I've had that experience exactly once. Actually, that happened in my PhD. I was getting ready to submit my first paper, and like a week before, a guy dropped an announcement paper. Now, announcement papers aren't quite the same thing, but he basically put out a paper saying, hey, this is the introduction of our paper. Here's what we're going to prove. But then he didn't actually prove any of it. He didn't provide any analysis or anything like that. He just kind of made the claim. And then my paper came out. But it's kind of frustrating. And so, like, I don't know why people do this, especially if you know, like, if somebody's a student, if you know what, if you know that, like, if you don't know that somebody else is working on it, then it's just bad timing, right? But if you know, and you know that it's like the dissertation of a student,
That's
like
pretty evil.
maybe it is pretty evil, right? Like something that like they spent years, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's actually why I have what's not a blood feud. Yeah, I have a blood feud with this guy that tried to scoop me now, but I think he might be dead. So,
Inshallah.
well, no, not
I
inshallah. You're not supposed to say that when.
I did do
Anyway.
a test on
Is it you?
and my download speed is shit right now. I have no idea why, but we're not really downloading much. So
True.
my upload speed is pretty good. I don't know what the fuck's going on with the fiber. I'm starting to think that our fiber internet's not actually the issue. I think the modem with AT&T fiber is
That
got
sounds plausible.
because every time I restart the modem, it comes back. So I think there's got to be some bullshit like it's overheating or there's a software bug in it. I'm gonna call them tomorrow and find out. But to be
We do
fair,
have a
I know
guest. We can talk
I know
to Kat.
restarting the modem will fix it. Let's talk to the guest first. It's not terrible.
If
And
it becomes
then
a problem, yeah.
if it becomes a problem where the stream can't run, then I'll just restart it and we'll start a new session. But anyway, sorry for the interruption
Yeah.
there, Cap.
Now, Cap,
Yeah, am I
before you
able to
start,
be heard?
I am actually curious. We can hear you. I'm actually curious. Would you be willing to say, would you affirm that you are indeed a practicing Catholic? Like, when was the last time you went to mass?
I'm not confirmed yet. So I'm
Do you have
prepping
plans
to
to get
become a
confirmed?
catechumen. No, I'm
Okay,
prepping to
but
become
you
a
haven't been to
catechumen
mass
right now.
before. I'm pretty
No.
sure you can go to mass even if you're not confirmed, right?
Yeah.
I'm unclear on that.
Yeah, you can.
What do you mean you're unclear on that? You just show up. You
I'm
can just go.
inquiring. I'm prepping to become a catechumen. So I haven't gone to mass yet. I'm mainly just reading the catechism right now.
It's weird.
Okay. I don't know. I've heard suspicious things that, like, actually, like, you know, Kylo argues for atheism, that you argue for atheism. So it feels
Yeah, I mean,
almost
I'm
like
just-
it's a LARP.
I'm just inquiring for now. But yeah, I mean, the type of argument I'm trying to argue for here isn't even related mainstream to like Catholic theology. I'm going to be arguing for like a more minimal form of theism, anyways. Right. So that doesn't seem relevant.
Yeah, if you're doing ontological, then being Catholic's not really relevant.
No, he's doing the fine tuning. But yeah, do you want to
Oh,
lay
I'm
out the
sorry.
fine tuning argument?
Yeah, I just want Blitz and Ian's opinion on the argument. I'll just give out the premises. So premise 1 is just for evidence E and rival hypotheses H1 and H2, relative to background knowledge K, E confirms H1 over H2 if and only if the probability of the evidence given H1 in your background knowledge is greater than the probability of the evidence given H2 in your background knowledge, and H1 is an ad hoc.
Yeah.
And then premise 2 is just that the fine-tuning of the universe is more expected given theism over naturalism relative to background knowledge, and theism is an ad hoc.
Yeah. Also,
So then you just get a confirmation.
before we get a response, Cap, I'll just let you know, if you log in using the other link, tiny.cc/UA there's a method for you to present stuff. If you have something like this written out already, like a formula, you can go that way next time rather than through TikTok. And then you can share on the screen without us having to like write it down and miscopy it 5 times.
I don't have it written out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like the argument's pretty straightforward. It's just if the evidence, if given
where'd
your
it go?
background knowledge, if the evidence favors option 1 over option 2, and option 1 is not more ad hoc than option 2, then you have reason to think that option 1 is more likely to be a correct explanation. That's all you're saying, right?
Yeah, you get a confirmation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's perhaps better explains the data in a Bayesian sense.
Yeah, it's more expected.
Yeah. Now, go ahead, Ian.
Well, I kind of have 2 things for this. One, this is like the scumbag move, but I'm actually growing increasingly convinced that Catholicism can't actually use evidential arguments, just because Catholicism has a commitment to divine simplicity, and at that point, God isn't good. He's like Shmud. He's some other sort of thing, and it's not clear to me that we can make predictions off of what a Shmud being would do, only what a good being would do. So I guess I have some reason to think that there could never be an evidential argument for Catholicism,
Yeah,
and
I
that
mean,
if you arrive at the Catholic conclusion, that would actually kind of undo all the evidence stuff. But
yeah, just
yeah,
yeah, I have a response. I want to notice that from the onset, I told you that I wasn't arguing for Catholicism. I was arguing for specifically a more minimal version of theism. I said this even
yeah.
before we started, so it seems like you're actually shadowboxing. I can give you what the minimal form of theism
I was
actually says.
responding.
And then,
I was tying like the argument into the position that you hold. Is what I was
oh
doing.
yeah,
That
well,
was like
I don't see,
it was like the
I don't
first
take
like
that to be
throwaway
relevant.
comment. Like that's not like the serious response that I have. I was just pointing out that I think this is inconsistent with the other position that you hold.
Oh, well, yeah, I
But
don't take that to be relevant to the conclusion.
okay,
Right?
sure.
Like it seems like
As long
that's
as
not
we
actually an
agree
objection.
on that. I'm growing increasingly.
Ian never said it was an objection, to be
Yeah,
clear.
I was saying like it's like the scumbag move is to point out that it doesn't seem like your hypothesis actually makes predictions at all. But putting that aside, I've been growingly increased by like stalking
Hypothesis
horse
is that.
objections. I think that the stalking horse objections are quite good. That it seems like you can always find a form of atheism or a form of naturalism that's in the neighborhood and more parsimonious. So you could hold to like some sort of like axiarchism that would likewise predict the data where the universe is just disposed towards goodness. And then the same way that you have a God that's disposed towards goodness and the God disposed towards goodness makes the prediction that, you know, we would expect fine tuning or we'd expect morally valuable creatures. Axiarchism would make the exact same prediction.
Yeah, cool. So the actual relevant response to this would just be that it seems like there's a lack of independent motivations for the given auxiliaries which are added on to axiarchism, such that this disposition would be something that you can independently motivate. Whereas the relevant symmetry breaker would just be that we have independent motivations for the auxiliaries internal to the theistic position, specifically the ones that draw out the data, right? The auxiliaries internal to the theistic hypothesis that draw out the data in this case would just be God's axiological motivation. I think that's a plausible entailment from the idea that God is rational. Not only that, but it seems like there's furthermore to say about like the reason why God would want to create a universe with ECAs in it, which is just the analogical induction. It seems like most minds that we observe tend to value rational agents. So then it seems like it would make sense to add that on to our hypothesis as well. Whereas given axiarchism, it doesn't seem like there's this type of independent motivation for the auxiliaries internal to the theory.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
that's kind of
So
the symmetry.
yeah, in terms of that response, so you're saying that the reason why it would be expected that God would be responsive to these facts is because God is maximally rational. But then this actually commits you to a specific horn of the Euthyphro. The Euthyphro being, of course, you know, are these things good because God does them or does God do them because they're good? It sounds like you'd be committing yourself to saying that God does them because they're good, that there's like some sort of independent goodness and then God acts in accordance with that independent goodness because he's morally good. So then either way, you're going to have the moral facts as something that are some things that are independent of God's existence. And likewise, the axiarchist can just make the exact same import. They can say, well, there are these moral facts that exist, and then the universe is just responsive to those moral facts.
Wait, so you seem kind of confused on what's being said. When we say God is axiologically motivated, we're just saying that God is motivated on the basis of what he perceives to be moral reasons. Right?
Yeah.
Whether those moral reasons are the type of reasons which are stance dependent or stance independent doesn't matter for the auxiliary, right? We're not saying that we're not saying there's some fact of the matter about the moral reasons, such that it's the type of thing that doesn't turn on any desires or anything like that. We're just saying that God acts on the basis of what he perceives to be moral reasons. Right? That's what it means to be axiologically motivated. Right. So I just want to make it clear that this whole talk about how this commits you to the second horn of the Euthyphro, it doesn't actually seem like it does that, because we're not committed to, you know, the ontic status of the morals there, right? And I'm unclear on why you would even think that, because the point here is just that it seems like we have independent motivation for the auxiliaries, right? Whereas what you're doing is you're not actually giving independent motivation for the auxiliaries included in axiarchism. You're just saying, oh, well, we can just stack these on top, right? Which just seems ad hoc to me. Not only does that seem ad hoc, but
what are the
that doesn't
independent
respond to the
motivations for
actual-
the what are the independent motivations for the auxiliaries that you're adding?
Well, he's saying that
Yeah,
the
so
auxiliary is that there's like these. He's saying that God is rational, so then he's motivated to do the rational thing, which would mean that he's like reasons responsive, and of course, like moral facts give moral reasons.
No,
So
no.
God just
Like,
always
what
acts.
are the
no, that's
like? What
not
are what
that's not
what's
what's being said.
okay? If that's
Oh,
not it,
okay.
then I'd
Are
love
you
to hear what
saying
the
like?
auxiliaries are.
Yeah, we're saying that most rational agents we observe tend to act on the basis of what they perceive to be moral reasons. Regardless of whether or not there are reasons, we see that most rational agents we observe tend to act on the basis of what they perceive to be moral reasons, right? Which is all it means to be axiologically motivated, right? So then when we do the analogical induction from the type of observation we see, uh, like most rational agents tend to do, we're licensed in projecting that property onto God.
Right, right. So sure, you're making some sort of like almost inductive claim. Like, there's rational things here and rational thing like, on Earth, say. And those rational things on Earth, they respond to things that have more reasons than things that have less reasons, right? And so you're saying, okay, well, if God is a rational being, then it's going to respond to things it's going to respond to, it's going to do things that have more reasons than have less reasons. The question is what are the reasons? What are the reasons that God chose to make the world this way?
We're not saying, we're talking about moral reasons in particular. So we're saying that
Are you
God,
saying moral reasons or more
yeah,
reasons?
moral, yeah,
Moral.
moral reasons.
Okay, I misheard. I apologize.
We're saying
Okay,
that God
so we're
acts
saying
on the
that
basis of what he believes to be moral reasons, not
okay,
like whether
sure,
or not
sure,
there
sure.
are these types of
So
moral
how do you
reasons. Doesn't
how do
matter,
you
right?
get
Because
how do you get to those moral reasons? Like, how do you get from those moral reasons to this world that's predicted?
yeah, okay. Well, that's the second stage, but I want to be very clear. Like just before we even get there, would you sign off on the fact that this is the type of induction which we're licensed in protecting this property?
I mean, I think that generally, like, induction is probably pretty safe. The question is whether you can use induction to say things about God having a mind or God's mind in particular. I mean, because similar inductive claims would be things like, well, minds are seemingly always attached to things that can die, things that are born, things that have bodies. And you
Wait.
probably wouldn't want to use that kind of inductive claim about all minds, right?
Also, before we get too far away from it, I do want to respond to the thing from earlier. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the chain of explanation, like metaphysical explanation, that makes the world predicted is that there are these moral facts, God's intent, and these moral facts explain God's intention combined with God's reasons responsiveness. He forms an intention based on these moral facts to do specific things, and then his action is explained by his intention.
No, we're saying that God acts on what he believes to be moral reasons. Right? Whether or not there are moral reasons, like you can be an error theorist. This
If God
proposition
believes something, is it
consistent with
true?
No, not necessarily.
So he's
I
not
don't think God-
all-knowing.
Yeah, I don't think God has that property. This is minimal theism.
Okay, sure. Sure. Well, then you'd be committing yourself to say that there are arbitrary limits within God.
Yeah, that's
That he
fine.
just, like-
right? Notice how.
So,
we're
okay,
not
wait, what are the things that he
prescribing a
knows
property.
and what are the things that he doesn't know? And what accounts for that?
Presumably he would know that he exists. I mean, that's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
basic one. I think that's just true given the cogito and like this type of self-reference thing. Presumably he would also know that he's powerful enough to create things. That's just analytically true, it seems like. Given that he's
So,
acting on the
I'm
basis
sorry,
of
here's-
reasons.
Here's probably a more like salient point. You're saying that what predicts this is that God is perfectly rational. That means that all the beliefs that God forms are going to be on the basis of reason. All the actions that God does are going to be
No,
on the basis
we're-
of reason. So wait, what does it mean to be perfectly rational if you do things for no reason?
What we're not. What's not being said is that he's perfectly rational. We're just saying
Didn't you
he's
say that earlier?
motivated. No,
I
we said
could
he's
have
rational.
misheard. I thought you said that he's just regularly rational.
Yeah, we're saying he's motivated to bring about what he perceives to be value in the world.
Is it rational to form a belief for no reason?
Is it rational to form a belief for no? Well, there is a reason why he has the belief, right?
What are those reasons?
Yeah. Well, the reason why he has the belief is just we're licensed in affirming that he has the belief in virtue of the induction, right? Like we have reasons to believe that God would be motivated.
So
in this
God's
way.
reasons for belief are the induction of the world that he hasn't yet created?
Wait, are you saying is he acting on the basis of,
So I'm inquiring about
I'm
his
inquiring
belief
with the question.
that yeah. So you're saying that God believes that specific things are moral and that he has like specific reasons for action. Does he have a reason to believe that there are these moral facts?
Does he have a reason to believe that there are these moral facts?
Yeah.
I'm, I don't know. I'm actually agnostic on that claim, but to be very clear, like what I was intending to do here is just to give a symmetry breaker between, oh, we just stack these properties onto a naturalistic hypothesis. Do you agree that I've given that symmetry breaker, which is just the independent motivation for the auxiliaries?
No, this seems, in fact, I don't know, like it seems like you're going to have to end up saying that God is, he's like rational, but he's not perfectly rational. Like it seems like you have to fine tune your God in order to get to the exact point that you want. But at that point, it
No,
doesn't seem
because
like the
from
fine tuning has been very well explained. It kind of seems like you've just imported fine tuning that he's not all knowing, but he knows like some things, or at least like he believes some things, and he has reasons to
Wait,
believe
but
some of the things that he believes, but he doesn't have reasons to believe some of the other things that he believes. So it seems like
wait,
you've
but
just
Ian,
pushed the fine tuning like one stage back.
To be clear, did I not make the claim from the onset that I was specifically arguing for minimal theism, which doesn't
Minimal
import the type of
theism.
omni properties?
Minimal theism is certainly not going to be a theism that has fine-tuned auxiliaries.
I don't know what you mean by fine-tuned auxiliaries. We're saying that we have
Well,
reasons to
like
import the auxiliary.
the set of things that he knows and that he has reasons for, that he believes or that he finds moral, all of these things seem to be very fine-tuned, such that you can kind of avoid omni properties, but also maintain sufficient properties to create a universe exactly like the one that we have.
But to be clear, I
That's the
didn't do
point.
that on purpose, right? The reason for that is just given the independent motivation, right? So you're false charging me with
What's
doing this kind
what's
of
the
like
independent?
ad hoc thing.
No, but what's I mean the independent motivation. So you're saying, look, if there is a mind that is somehow responsible for a universe, then it should respond like our minds do, right? Is that's the independent motivation that you're offering?
If there's a rational mind, we should expect it to be motivated on what it perceives to be moral reasons, right? And given that God is a rational mind, we're licensed in affirming that God would have this property, right? And that's the relevant symmetry breaker between just stacking on these type of things to your hypothesis, right? Because we're motivating the properties given the induction, right? Like this is just the basic ambulative inference, right? So to be clear, the burden was on me to just give a symmetry breaker between, like we can just, like, because what a stalking horse wants to do is it's this type of internal critique where you kind of construct a mirroring explanation with mirroring postulates, and then you ask the theist, well, in virtue of what does your hypothesis like better explain the data, right? Like that, I think I've succeeded in that.
So here's the stalking horse that I'll construct for you. You're saying that your God he's not all knowing, and he's not perfectly rational, but he is disposed to act on what he thinks the reasons are, and he is disposed to believe that these specific things are the moral reasons. The stalking horse I'll construct is that we have a universe that's disposed to act on specific factors, and the specific factors are these things that are going to produce life. It just has a disposition to produce life.
And by the way, the inductive reasoning is that we could say, oh well. Hold on. So,
do you agree that
your response is that they're ad hoc, right?
No, my response is that I have independent motivations for mine, whereas internal to the theory.
We have independent. Look. The stalking horse that Ian just offered, we have independent motivation for as well. So,
what?
Which would be there are things in the universe that respond to reasons, that respond to facts. Therefore, we can reasonably say that the universe responds to reasons, responds to facts. I mean, it's a similar kind of inductive reasoning.
Okay, perfect. So, why would I think that the sample size that we have is exhaustive? But also, this isn't even the type of this isn't even a valid analogical. Wait, but this isn't even this is asymmetry between the type of induction I was doing, because what you have right here isn't actually an analogical induction, right? Like it's not the same motivation.
Wait, why not?
Yeah, because an analogical induction reasons from a sample size to projecting the property onto the same type of entity, right?
Yeah, we're talking about material things.
Wait,
we have a sample size of lots of material things that respond to reasons and respond to, and respond to facts about the respond to facts, and so we're projecting that onto another material thing, the universe.
Yeah. Also, I mean, what Dr. Blitz was talking about a couple of points ago, that we can make like an exact same induction going in the opposite direction, that all the minds that we've ever encountered have been at least like in some way causally connected to brains. So therefore you would have like inductive evidence against a brainless mind.
Okay, yeah, so I want to respond to these one by one. So
sure.
What fact, because I take a material theory of induction, what fact do you think would license your induction?
That there are things that are reasons responsive.
Okay, there are things
In
that
fact,
are
lots
reason
of things
responsive.
are reason responsive.
Okay, there are things that are reason responsive in the world, and you want to say that you're licensed in projecting that property onto the universe. I'm just asking what
Onto
license
other
is the
things.
projection. Yeah, I'm asking what license is the projection of the property um, from the sample size.
Are you saying the
probably-
sample
yeah.
is too small, or what are you saying?
No, I'm questioning the type of amplitude inference you're trying to employ. So, what's being said here is that, look, we want to say for any induction, there are certain facts, material facts, right, that license the induction. I'm just asking what facts would license the induction in this case, right, down to the types of
Yeah, that the
facts,
things
yeah.
that respond to reasons and respond to facts that we have experience with are material, and the universe is material.
Wait, but that's just to repeat what the sample size is, right?
Isn't that what you're?
let's
I'm sorry.
imagine-
What are you asking?
Yeah, I'm not clear either.
Yeah, so let's imagine that we have this type of I guess you can say okay, so we want to say for any induction, there are facts internal to the world where they would license the projection of properties given the sample size, right? So
Okay,
given
what are
the
those
sample
facts
size,
in your case?
Yeah, the facts in my case would just be facts about motivations and normativity, right? It seems like agents are motivated based on their desires. They're based on these type of reasons, right? That fact is going to license the induction, right? Now, what I'm asking you here is
Yeah, and
what
material
fact-
things seem to be responsive to facts about the world.
responsive to facts about the world. Okay. And these material things are responsive to facts about the world in virtue of what?
I'm sorry,
Various
it
things.
seems
Depends
like-
on the circumstance.
But also, you didn't give a reason why you didn't give in virtue of why agents are responsive to these kinds of
So
things
just-
either. So
Don't do this weird thing where you pivot back on the convo. I want an answer to the question, which was just
no. The
these
point
agents
is
are
you're
responsive to
you're
reasons
applying
in
you're
virtue
applying
of
a
what?
higher standard to the
No,
stalking
I'm not,
horse than you're
because I
applying to your
bet
own
if I were
argument.
No, I'm not, because I bet if you were to ask this question, I would have an answer. So I want an answer to the
Okay.
question, which is just these things
Let's
in the
let's say
world
that they have
are
disposition. Let's say
responsive
the
to
material things have a
reasons.
disposition to respond to facts.
Yeah. Also, I mean, obviously, we're
kind-
going to be like
What
pluralists
kind of
about like
disposition?
the sort of like explanatory chain there in terms of
Yeah,
what
it-
kinds of facts
okay,
and what
what
kinds of
kind of
things respond to what
disposition?
kind of facts.
It just depends on the
What
kind
kind
of
of
material thing you're
disposition?
talking about. Depends on the material thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, and the kind of fact.
I take it that you would only be responsive to reasons if you have mental states, right? Like
I don't know where that would
ment-
follow.
only agents are the type of things which act on the basis of reasons. That's just what it means to
Well,
me.
Wait,
you're
what do you
defining
take
reasons that way.
what do you take a reason to be?
A reason is just something that motivates an agent. This is simple.
Something that motivates an agent.
Okay, so then kind of you're just constructing a reason to be the kind of thing that only agents can consider.
Are you using reason that way?
I think we're probably using it in some sort of way such that a thing can be disposed towards that, or at least that's what the axiarchist wants to say, is that there are non-agents that can be disposed to behaving in specific ways, and that reasons are just going to be something like dispositions.
Oh, well then it seems like the hypothesis that you're using doesn't actually have mirroring auxiliaries such that the stalking horse isn't actually a stalking horse, right? Because you don't have mirroring auxiliaries, right? Which is perfectly fine. Like if you want to say, oh well, I'm giving a competing hypothesis, right? So that would equally explain the data. That's fine, but this just isn't a stalking horse anymore, right? In which case, then the question just becomes,
I mean, it is.
What's
It's just
the
a little bit broader
relation
than you might
for-
think.
Yeah. So in the same
It's
way
not
that
a
you're
stalking
saying
horse
that
because you
reasons
don't have
dispose
mirroring
agents towards
auxiliary.
actions, we're going to say that, reasons dispose things towards behaviors, basically. But also it seems like all of these inductive claims that you want to make, that like inductively agents are responsive to reasons. It seems like you can set up like a further induction that material agents are responsive to reasons, which is going to
Or
have the
that-
exact same level of evidence.
Or that material agents, or that agents are responsive to material reasons or material facts rather than immaterial facts.
but you're not understanding something, which is just that the stalking horse, well, what a stalking horse intends to do is mirror the postulates, right? Where what you've done is you haven't mirrored the postulates. what you've done
What a
is you
stalking
have
horse intends to do is just construct a naturalistic hypothesis that's as supported as the theistic hypothesis. It doesn't need to one-for-one mirror. It just needs to arrive at like roughly the
not-
same level of support.
well. If you look at stalking horses in the literature, they're a type of internal critique where you
That-
construct mirroring
So
postulates.
that's great. I mean, like,
I mean, that's
this
fine.
this
Like,
may just be
under the
this is a
definition
semantic
that I'm
distinction.
having,
It's just a
it's
semantic
supposed to
distinction.
mirror.
So just take
Like-
take the understanding of what we're saying. This is the perhaps internal critique or the a mirrored but not exactly mirrored argument that seems to have the
but
same level
then-
of supporting evidence and
Wait,
address it.
also, you're lying. Name one piece or name one I don't know work that describes stalking horses in this way.
Yeah, I can just give you the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, but I don't
Which
really
one?
think that's relevant.
Wait, which
Yeah,
article?
The entry on stalking horses. Hold on.
There isn't an entry on stalking horses. You just lied.
Ooh.
That's kind of brutal.
Well,
We
I
larped a
don't see
little
how
bit
that's
too close to
relevant.
the sun. Because you made a claim about the literature and you were just lying.
You think I'm lying about the literature? What's the?
Well,
That's
yeah,
not
there is-
relevant.
When you
I did
said
just
that
check
this
this.
is a thing in the literature, it's just not there.
You take
there-
it that
In
there
fact-
isn't a
all the
stalking
In fact,
horse.
this is something that you would know if you were like a bit more familiar with the literature, but they don't really talk about quote stalking horses unquote in the literature. It's not something that comes up very frequently.
Wait, do you take it that within all of the literature, there's no explanation such that it's accurate to the one I just described?
I have no idea. I'm stance
Oh,
neutral
so
about
then why
that.
are you accusing me of lying if you don't
At
know the
least
truth
I
value of
don't
the claim
think
on the
that it's
table?
going to be described as a stalking horse. But let me go to Phil Papers.
Wait, but why are you accusing
Well,
me of lying
so
if you just admitted that
We're
you don't know the
Tap,
truth value of the
Tap,
claim?
we're accusing you of lying because you just provided a source that doesn't exist.
Yeah, you just had no problem making something up.
Yeah, I would presuppose that they would have an entry on the stalking horse critique.
Well, so that,
right?
but
Because
so then
that's
why
what
would you
I think
why
that's
would you
used
propose
in
it?
philosophy.
Why would you answer a question when asked for a source with a source that you assume exists but have never actually looked at? That's just a little bit suspicious
Wait, but
because it doesn't have a.
But you
like,
understand that-
I have it up right now. It does not have
understand
any
that-
entries on the stalking horse.
yeah, but you understand that if that's true, then I just wasn't lying, right? And then not only that, but you accused me of lying despite not knowing the truth value of the claim. Like I don't understand like what.
When
Okay,
you
so
said
you admit that
the-
you were wrong.
Right, but this is just a minute point, right? This is just all a minute point. The point on the table is just that what I take a stalking horse to be isn't what's been adequately delivered, and
Okay.
I literally defined it in the same way.
That's
prior, right? And
That's great. We're
Now,
offering a
what we need
different
to
kind
do-
of argument then. Call it a schmocking schmorse.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, perfect. So then
It's
now-
just similar to a
I
stalking
question-
horse, but not identical. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So I take it that I'm questioning now. What I'm going to be bringing into question is the type of inferential framework, but also I was justified in the claim I made in virtue of the fact that the
Justify
SCP is the type
claim
of
that,
literature.
what claim that you made?
It's kind of funny because I actually can't find a
Not
single
SCP.
mention of a stalking horse on any article in the entire SCP. It doesn't seem like there is one. Not even like just that there isn't an article named stalking horses. There isn't even a mention on any page in any
Okay,
of the
this is
SCP
a
of
minute
stalking
point. Let's get-
horses.
This is a minute point. Let's get.
I
to the
actually did
questions.
find one on the entry on rule
Question.
following has a stalking
Oh,
horse mention.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I question that the inferential framework that you're using, or we can just talk about the justification. Like I was justified in affirming the claim that I made.
Justified in
Okay.
affirming the claim about stalking horses?
Or
Mhm.
that's fine. We can move off of like the whether or not you're LARPing into the like the more substantive point of like, okay, why would we favor your hypothesis over our hypothesis, where things just have like a disposition towards life, or things just have a disposition towards, I don't know, like
I already answered that.
moral reason following.
I already answered that. The disposition towards life is explained by the intention to act upon the basis of what they perceive as moral reasons, and that's explained by the rationality. I've already answered
But
that.
why not just
Is it
hold that it
correct?
as like a
No.
disposition towards producing life?
Because we have independent motivations for what I just claimed. Like I don't
And
understand
that
what-
independent motivation is, but that independent motivation gets undermined by an identical inference that all of the agents who are reason following are material.
Yeah, what's the argument for the symmetry?
For the symmetry, I'm not sure what you're asking there.
You just said it's an identical inference.
Yeah, okay. The argument for the symmetry, which is what you're trying to get at, is so you take the set of all of the rational agents that we're aware of, right? You know, this is probably going to be everything on Earth, or all of the, you know, all of the humans on Earth, and maybe like some dolphins or something. You take all of the humans on Earth, say, and you say, well, all of the humans on Earth, they all seem to be like reason following. They all seem to be rational in some sense. Or yeah, all of the rational humans on Earth anyway seem to be reason following, or they're responsive to reasons. And therefore, you come to the conclusion that, in fact, all rational agents are responsive to conclusions. This is the inductive reasoning that you're using. And we can just say, well, so all you have to do is replace the proposition is reason, or is reason directed, or is, you know, responsive to reasons with, is material in nature. And you come to the exact same conclusion. And it's equally true that all, you know, all rational agents that we see on Earth are material in nature. And so we can come to that same conclusion, right?
Yeah, but when you said that it was an identical inference, presumably you want to say that there's some symmetry and properties.
Yeah.
virtue of
So
the
if
analyticity. Right now, I'm questioning
if
the
all
analyticity,
if
like,
all
yeah,
p
right
that we
now.
observe have property x, so the argument goes something like this: if all p that we observe have property x, then all p have property x. Premise 2, all p that we
Oh.
observe have property x. Conclusion, all p have property x. So just replace x in your case with responsive to reasons, replace p with rational agents, and in our case, replace x with, you know, is causally dependent on a physical brain, say.
Okay.
And so
to be very
the
clear-
structure of the argument is identical, actually.
To be very clear, that premise one is not accurate towards what I was even proposing. And if that's the inference that you have in your claim, then it's actually not synonymous, and I take that to be a concession.
Okay,
Now,
so then what's
insofar as-
what's the premise one that you're proposing?
Wait. Nah, I don't take that to be relevant, right? Because I've already explained
Of course it's relevant. You said that my summary of your argument is
Brutal.
not correct. So I asked you to clarify what is a summary of your argument? What would be a syllogistic understanding of the first premise of your argument? And you said that's not relevant. Of course it's relevant if you're going to say that my rendering is incorrect. Because if my rendering is
yeah, the
incorrect, that
reason
means
why
I'm
it's not
misunderstanding your argument.
correct.
Because the goal of constructing the argument was to provide a mirror, provide a symmetric argument for, you know,
Oh,
being causally
okay,
linked to a
perfect. So
physical
then-
brain. But
so
you're
then-
not. If you're not going to provide the
then-
argument, then how can we do that?
Okay, perfect. So then, if that conditional you just said holds up, then that just means like you're admitting that you weren't tracking. In which case, now I'm going to prove that you weren't tracking. The claim that
Okay,
the
yeah.
claim
So
on the
please
table that you
summarize
made
what's the
was,
first premise.
if
Please give me
all
the first
P we
premise.
observed- if all P, well, the claim that you made was if all P were observed, we've observed have property X, then all P have property X. That's not synonymous with the claim on the table that I made, which was just if all P we observed have property X, then probably the next P we observe
Okay.
will have that property.
Okay.
And-
I'm sorry, I missed the
or the
word
next
probably.
P
So
will have
replace
that
my
property.
argument with put probably there, and we get to the same conclusion.
Okay.
I'm
well,
so
perfect.
sorry I
So
left
then-
out the word probably.
Wait, so perfect. So then you just made the claim that if it was the case that what you said wasn't accurate, then you misunderstood the argument. So I take that to be also you just claiming you misunderstood the argument, which is fine, right? Now, to
Yeah,
be very
clearly,
clear,
I
function-
believe that inductive reasoning is
Yep.
actually deductive.
Yeah.
I didn't just leave out an argument when spontaneously producing a syllogism with nothing
Wait,
written down.
Well, I wasn't finished, but yeah, I take that to just be, you admitting that you misunderstood the argument, right? Which is fine.
And
Like, getting
okay, so now,
information.
so now I take the
No,
fact that you've agreed that I
sorry,
could
I
just
wasn't
modify
finished
the
speaking.
original
I wasn't
argument
finished speaking,
by
I'm
adding a
sorry.
single word into the first
Okay.
premise, probably, that then we see that the inductive conclusion
Wait,
that
so-
probably
wait, but-
all
but you
rational
understand-
agents are causally
you
linked to a
understand
physical
how-
brain is also just
Wait,
as
so-
equally justified in believing, right? We're just as equally
Wait, so
coming,
you understand
just
how
as equally justified in
so you
coming to that
understand how the
conclusion.
first so you understand how the first argument you gave actually wasn't even the type of thing that you claimed
he's
it was,
harping
which
on
was just
this. He's
identical.
like he's so intent on harping on this because he knows that if he
understand that?
moves past this, that he just
Yeah,
gets
I mean, he obviously-
obliterated by what you
Stop
just
the
said,
meta
right? Like
commentary.
there's
He
kind of no
obviously
way
knows what
around
I meant.
it. All he
Like,
can do
it's
is like
pretty
flail
clear
at
what I
this
meant.
point. Wait, do you have like a
Yes or no?
response though? Like wouldn't we
Like a
arrive at the
substantive
exact
response?
same conclusion that probably
that's not answering
probably
the
there
question I
isn't
asked
an
you.
immaterial mind? Is that correct?
Wait, that's not an answer to the question I asked, which was just, do you
Wait,
understand
so
how
we
the
asked
claim
our
on the table,
question
which I brought in the
first.
question, was just,
Okay.
it's not identical. Do you understand that? And I did ask my question first. Don't start lying.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
and-
not
and,
identical. I will make it identical. Do you
Well,
want me to
but
make
in
it
the
identical
context,
for you?
like it pretty clearly is identical,
agree,
right? We
though?
all know what induction is, you know.
Wait, the claim. Wait. So I just explained to you how it wasn't identical. you guys agreed that it wasn't
Within the
identical.
context itself,
And now
everyone
you're
acknowledges that
saying
we're
you're not
talking
gonna take
about
that
like
as a consensus?
probabilistic things. Like obviously Dr.
is like a
Blitz
huge-
knows that
this is a huge quote, by
induction
the way.
isn't deduction. Obviously he knows that it's not like a 100% infallible certainty when you're doing induction. I don't know, it's
Okay,
like trivial.
perfect. Yeah, perfect. I'll just take that as a concession. Now, what was your question?
Yeah. Okay. So now that you've granted that this is a like obviously trivial, that we all understand what induction is. Now take the inductive argument with the premise that you've offered, which, by the way, if you only modify premise one that way, your argument's no longer valid. So I'll take the concession there. But let's take the correct
It is
the
valid.
correct inductive.
What
No,
about it
no, it's
wouldn't
not,
be
because
valid?
because the conclusion is not that all x have or all p have property x. The conclusion is all p probably have property x. But we'll take that as a
Yeah?
concession. So
What do you mean?
so
Wait. How
so
does that
premise
mean
one,
it's invalid?
if all p
Wait,
yeah,
how
so
does
you
that
can't
mean
go
it's
from
invalid?
yeah, I'll explain. So if your first premise is if all p that we observe have property x, then probably all x or all p have property x. Second premise, all p that we observe do have property x. Conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the invalid part, all p have property x. No, the conclusion should be
I didn't
probably
make that.
all
That
p
wasn't
have
the
property
conclusion
x.
I was drawing.
Right. So you can't. My point is you
Wait,
you can't just modify
that
the
wasn't
premise
the
and say that
conclusion
you
I
just
was
misunderstood the
drawing,
argument.
sir.
Anyway, we'll take the
Wait,
concession.
that wasn't the
concession. So
conclusion I was drawing.
I'm going to give you a
You just made
valid
the claim that my argument wasn't
that is
valid
an
and
accurate.
then mistracked the conclusion.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
because
drawing.
you only
The conclusion I
modified
was
the first
drawing was
premise.
that
You
we're
didn't modify
licensed
the
in affirming
conclusion.
that God has the property, which is just to say that probably God has the property, right? So you just
Yeah,
call my
yeah,
argument
but you didn't say
invalid
that.
and
You
then
understand
proceeded
that, right?
to mischaracterize.
Oh,
Are
but
we
you
also
didn't-
I take it that saying that we're
licensed
licensed in affirming something
to
is the same as saying
are
it's
we
more
licensed to
probable.
affirm that God doesn't exist on the basis that the only minds that we've encountered are connected to brains?
Yeah, I deny that license.
Oh, why? Why
what
does the
grounds?
parallel argument not work? That
Yeah,
all minds that we've ever
because-
encountered, both, and by the way,
Yeah.
the set is going to be bigger here because we've encountered irrational minds in the form of animals, or minds that aren't like perfectly responsive to moral reasons in the form of animals, and even those minds are connected to brains. So we just have an even bigger induction here. So all the minds that we've encountered have some sort of causal connection to a brain. And if that's true, then probably all minds have a causal connection to a brain. Therefore, probably God doesn't exist because he would be a mind
Yeah.
without a brain.
Yeah, so the reason why I deny, this type of inference is because I reject, I'm a quietist on the type of talk that you're alluding to. Not only am I a quietist on the type of talk, right? I take it that
I wish you were
we can
an
hold
even
some
bigger
form of
quietist.
we can hold to some form of eliminativism in regards to, the type of ampliative inference that you're holding to in the dialectic, right? And so it seems like
What
on
inference?
the basis of those two reasons,
Which
yeah,
inference?
the induction.
Oh, you're a
the
quietist on
induction.
induction? You just knocked your own case over.
I'm a quietist
Congrats,
on the type
bud.
of talk that you're affirming in the dialectic, right? That's
Yeah,
distinct
what's
from
going to be the
thing that I'm
difference
affirming.
between our two
What's
arguments
the symmetry
then?
breaker?
Yeah, are you saying
Obviously,
that you're a
there's a
quietist about
distinction in the two
induction?
arguments
Because
because of
you
the
used
analyticity.
induction. I don't know if you remember
just-
that.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, obviously there's a distinction in the type of argument, right? Because of the
Yeah, what's the
analyticity,
distinction?
right? The terms mean different things, right? Like if we just look at the analyticity of the first kind, the terms mean
And
different things.
why does that
right? So,
provide a symmetry breaker?
yeah, I deny that question.
Why is that relevant? You deny that
deny that
question.
question?
Base,
deny the
fucking
first
goat,
question.
dude. I deny your denial. You actually
I
affirm
don't
it.
grant that you can do that. I don't grant that you can do
I
that.
deny that you don't grant that I can do it. You actually do
Yeah,
grant it.
I don't grant that you can deny that either.
I'm a quietist
I
about granting
deny
and
that you
denying.
don't grant that. You do grant it.
This is what you guys have been reduced to. Like this is embarrassing.
Bro, you just said you denied a question.
Yeah, then I deny the question given that I don't hold to the type of talk.
What talk do you
Understand
not
that?
hold to?
You understand that if a question contains some type of talk that you're limitivist towards,
What
you should not
what
answer
talk
that
do you not
question.
hold to? What talk do you not
Yeah.
hold to?
Yeah, the amplitivity of the inferencer.
Be specific, my guy. Which part of the inductive argument that Ian and I have offered are you a quietist about? Which is it just
Yeah,
that
the
minds are
ampliative
causally
inference.
connected to physical, or that minds are causally attached
I'm
to
a
physical brains?
quietist on
Is
the
that
ampliative
your issue?
inferencer.
I have
I'm
no
quiet
idea.
on
Ian,
the
do you know what
ampliative
ampliative
inference.
means?
No. Is he
Do
just
you
talking
know-
about induction?
I have no idea. What does ampliative
that-
mean? I don't.
I've
know.
never even heard the word.
Conclusion, that's just to say that, yeah, I'll just give you guys the amps, that's fine. That's just to say that the conclusion contains new semantic content. not
It is a
invalid
real word, though.
content.
I'm looking it up right now. It seems to be a real word.
Ampliative means expanding or adding new information to what is already known, contrasting with deductive or expletive reasoning, which only states what is already implicit. Okay, so what is already implicit about your argument, but not already implicit
Wait,
about
so are
ours?
you denying that you deny induction? Or
No,
wait, so
I
are
deny
you,
the
is the thing that
amplitude.
you deny induction?
No, I denied that there's the type of arguments where there's new semantic content added into.
Wouldn't this be a denial of the
the
structure of
conclusion.
the argument?
Duh.
Okay, so just to be clear, you deny if all P that we observe have property X, then probably all P have property X. Premise 2,
I
all
deny-
P that we
I
observe
deny
have
the
property X.
usage of-
Therefore, it is probably the case that all P have property X. You just reject that structured argument.
No, I deny the usage of it within your conceptual scheme. I'm a conceptual scheme relativist.
Okay, so you think that like arguments can only be like you can't substitute any property for property X.
That's not what's being said either, sir. Do you know what a
Okay,
conceptual
well then
scheme
clarify.
is?
No, I have no fucking clue because I use my brain for useful things rather than for making up gibberish about fake Catholicism.
I
So,
disavow.
yeah, it's
I
fine.
disavow. I'm
that
sure
I
it's
made
very
up
useful.
gibberish.
I'm sure. You sure?
So a conceptual scheme presumably is just going to be a linguistic framework. It's a system of linguistic rules, including representation, inference, and inferential frameworks that we adopt in order to organize experience and coordinate action. Right, I deny that the constituents of your conceptual scheme are going to be able to adequately account for the type of impletivity. Not only that, right, because I'm a conceptual scheme relativist, I hold that.
Why
only
can't I
my
substitute?
conceptual scheme-
Why can't I substitute in has a mind that is physically or causally linked to a physical brain? Why can't I substitute that in for X?
I'm quiet on the modal
Can't
auxiliary.
on what modal
From
scope,
the point
Dr.
here, it's
Blitz?
No, I'm quiet on the
Logical modal
auxiliary,
scope.
but- Yeah, I'm quiet on the modal auxiliary. Now, insofar as this, right, you're not understanding the objection. The objection is just to say that
You're not even giving an objection.
I am giving an objection. It's actually a
No, you're just saying you're a
proper
quietist about it. That's not an objection.
Yeah, I'm quiet on whether or not you're
I
quiet.
take it that being a quietist serves as a proper objection, insofar as
I
if you
reject
just write
that.
down-
I'm a quietist about whether quietism can serve as a proper objection.
Yeah,
don't
I'm
go with
I'm quiet about quietism.
See, now you guys are doing this weird thing where you're, making these type
We're
of jokes
doing
because
the
you
word
can't contend
thing?
with the argument. Right,
You
obviously
didn't alter an
can't
argument. You
contend.
just said you're quiet about it.
No, not only was
It's
I
not an
quiet,
argument.
what else did I say, Dr. Blitz? What else did I say?
I'm
That
quiet
you're a
as to what else you
conceptual
said.
relativist.
Oh, you're quiet on what else I said? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quiet on the other parts of what you
question-
said. I'm quiet
I
on that.
question your conceptual scheme. Do you have a motivator for that?
I'm quiet on your questioning, your ability to question my conceptual scheme.
This is such a goated debate tactic, by the way. Just say that you're quiet on
even
something
if
that you
you're
don't
a
have a response
quietist, your
to.
quietism is invalidated if it's the case that I'm a conceptual scheme relativist.
I'm a quietist about fine tuning.
Yeah, me too.
Your quietism's invalidated in virtue of conceptual scheme relativism.
I'm
I'm
a
a quietist
quietist
about
about
conceptual
that,
scheme
yeah.
relativism.
Yeah. Your quietism's invalidated. You understand that? Like your quietism is just.
I'm a quietist
valid.
about invalidating quietism.
So this is all you guys are gonna do. You're not going to engage. Like this is embarrassing.
Literally, we're just making fun of you because this is what you're doing because you're failing to address the argument the mirrored argument that's actually being offered here.
I already addressed the mirrored argument. You guys admitted
Yeah,
yourselves.
by
that
saying
I'm
you're a
putting
quietist
in
about it.
structure. You guys already admitted yourselves that I put in question the structure, and you guys failed to justify the
No,
structure.
the structure has no problem.
Yeah,
You've
we're
granted
fine
the
with the
structure.
structure.
What's the argument for that?
What's the argument that if P then Q, P then Q? Are you asking what's the argument
Yeah.
for modus
you can hold
ponens?
to like, you can hold to like these type of non-practical objections to the material conditional.
Wow, this guy's the fucking goat, dude.
Wait, so
Yeah, I love that.
then how are you doing induction if you're questioning modus ponens?
Yeah, because I don't hold to standard model theory, sir.
Oh, okay. So
Well,
then
the
why did you accept the version that I offered after I modified it with the word probably?
He just formed the opinion, right? He did accept it earlier, but now he's read the SCP article on
never-
it. He read the
never said
SCP
that I
article on
accepted it.
stalking horses, and then he changed his mind.
Okay, look,
Which is
if you guys
causally
actually
linked to a
have an
physical
adequate
brain, by the way, apparently.
response- Listen, do you guys have an adequate
Actually, it's
response
not
to
clear
the
that it's causally linked to a physical brain.
Listen, okay, obviously, the serious thing is that we gave a response, and then you started obfuscating. We gave we gave a separate inductive argument that would lead us to the exact opposite conclusion that probably God doesn't exist, and then you started rejecting induction and obfuscating. So this is where we're at.
So, do you have a response to the non-classical objections to the material conditional? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm quiet about those.
So you don't have a response? That's fine.
I'm a quietist about it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's just to say that you don't have a response.
No,
Oh
I'm a
wait, so when you
quietist
say
about it.
Or at
just
least
to be
that you're
clear,
not
when you say
willing
you're
to
a
give a
quietist about
response.
something, I just want to double check. When you say that you're a quietist about something, you're saying that that's not a response. So are you saying that you didn't respond to our inductive argument because you were quiet about whether or not we can come to whatever gibberish you said?
Yeah, I'm a conceptual scheme relativist, so I take it that my response was actually a valid response and that yours wasn't, right?
My fucking goat. As am I, which is why I hold that my response was valid and yours isn't.
Yeah, motivate conceptual scheme relativism.
I'm a quietist about that.
I'm motivated in the same way that you do.
Do you know the way that I motivate it?
I'm precogging you actually, but I'm not going to tell anybody because that would be cheating.
Okay, yeah, this is just like embarrassing on you guys' end. Like you have no response. And
Look. So we were actually having a decent conversation about the kind of induction that we were doing and what kind of reasons we were giving for the conclusions that we came from, and then we gave you like a knockdown killer inductive argument that comes to the opposite conclusion, and you've just been obfuscating ever since. So I don't know if you want to call us embarrassing.
You have. It's
Really?
clear. You've clearly been obfuscating.
You failed to motivate your conceptual scheme. You failed to motivate the type of, denial of the non-classical objections to the material conditional. You failed to motivate
Both of those things
the type of
only came up
impulsivity
after we
inference.
knocked you down with the inductive
failed-
argument, right?
you failed to
You
motivate
never
all of
brought, you
those
never
things to
justified
be
your own
correct.
conceptual scheme beforehand. You never justified
Oh, I
your
can-
own, I
I
don't know,
can
whatever
easily do
gibberish you
that.
said. No, but
Right,
the point is
thing
you never
that
brought it
didn't
up,
bring
which
that
is
into
what.
question, Blitz.
No, I'm sorry, Cap. The point is that you were using these kinds of claims to come to your own conclusions. The inductive claim that you were making, for example, about rational agents being reason responsive, and you didn't justify any of, or you didn't even mention, in fact, any of your conceptual. I don't know why I can't talk. Conceptual schemes. You didn't mention any of this. You didn't mention any of your non-classical. What did you call it? Non-classical inferences. So you didn't mention any of this. So it seems like what you're doing is you're changing the tape now. And that's a very, very old reference. I know that you probably aren't old enough to know that. But what you're doing is you're essentially swapping things out mid-conversation, because when we adopted the same thing that you were ostensibly using, we were coming to an opposite conclusion. So now you have to go retroactively change what
I deny that
justifications you
you
were
adopted
using,
the
what
same
schema
things.
you were using. Okay, you're just going to deny everything. That's cool. That's a good look for you.
No, I can actually explain why you didn't adopt the same things. The reason for that is just because I wasn't using standard model theory, whereas what you
Okay, so then
granted
what were you
was that
using to come
were
to your
using
inference?
standard model.
What
Conceptual scheme relativism.
Okay, so standard model theory gets you to, it can get you to essentially standard, not what we would call classical laws of logic, but it can get you to the standard kind of inferences that we use. So what does the conceptual scheme relativism do? How does that change the story so that your inference was correct, but ours is not?
Yeah, so for example, if you're a realist about the type of positions there, right, it seems to be the case that all
How does
such
that
being
change
said
the
here-
inference rules?
Yeah, because we don't accept the true functionality of the material conditional. That's the type of thing which is denied.
Okay, but you're using a material conditional, a material conditional, and I believe
No,
it's
I'm
actually called a. Actually, no. I was thinking of a different term. But yeah.
I'm not using
so
the material
what was
conditional.
I'm sorry. So what was your first premise in your inductive argument?
Not to butt in, but Cap's been up here for 52 minutes, and we do have we've had guests come and go in that time period. Do we want to bring in another guest, or do you just want to?
Yeah, we could.
keep
I
it
actually
interesting,
think that
Cap.
it'd probably be worthwhile just mentioning, by the way, and I wanted to mention this at the very beginning. We have alternative justification for thinking that a multiverse exists, and so a multiverse can equally well account for the fine-tuning data. So even if your entire argument works, that there is no other way to, or that you can, justify your auxiliaries in a nice way, then we come to the same conclusions using multiverse. So yeah, it's
Multiverse is
just on
obviously
the basis of the
inverse.
physics, just on the basis of the physics, we come to an equally good conclusion, arguably more parsimonious one too.
Before I leave,
But
I'm
that's
just gonna
neither here
say
nor
that
there. I mean, we can talk about that
multiverse
another
objections-
time.
Multiverse objections
ahead.
are obviously fallacious. Not only are they fallacious, it doesn't justify the data that we have, right? Because we're talking about this universe, and then it's trivially just an inverse gambler.
Oof, that's
Right.
so awkward, dude. I joined their
Sorry.
server because apparently he's getting answers through Discord, and then they had to say, "Don't type in here. Don't type in here. Stop typing."
Oh, wait a minute. Do you have a
That's
Discord
so
link? 'Cause that'd be
awkward.
so funny.
But yeah, I mean, to be very clear, I'm just gonna, explain why you guys
Ugh.
lost. You didn't respond to, well, several points. You failed
Wait,
to
Ian, do you have a
motivate
Discord
this-
link?
Yeah, it's just in his bio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, did he leave?
No, I kicked
Aw.
him. He was at the
I
point
wanted
where
to see
he.
what the Discord link is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was. He was no longer debating. He said I'm
No,
going
of
to
course
list all
not.
the ways that you lost, and then
Hmm.
started doing a victory lap. So I just like, well, you know what? No one's got time for that. But we do have time for some super chats and to bring up another guest. Thank you for being here, friends. From Dave, thank you so much for the $6.91 super chat. Says Dr. Blitz and Forrest Valkai inspired me to become an educator. So at 49 years old, I start in September to study to be a maths teacher. Thank you, Blitz. Well, hell yeah. That's what's up.
Hell yeah, let's go. I appreciate that, Dave.
Inspiring learning is fantastic. And Christopher, thank you for the $13 super chat. It's always telling when, in order to try to make an argument in any way coherent, the theist strips their God of all attributes that they would otherwise profess. This is utter BS. Yeah, well, that's why he got mad when
100% the thing.
yeah, when he got called out earlier because the thing he was describing doesn't line up with Catholicism. But they don't really care about that. That's not, they just want to be able to run an argument and then sneak their religion
Ian.
into it.
What?
Check your Discord messages.
Yeah, I will.
And from
Bro's just
Golak
staring at her,
says,
looking at his phone.
Philfo,
Oh, yes, sir.
Philfo are the worst. Boring, you can think.
They deleted the entire channel. Holy shit.
Oh, wait, what?
my god. They deleted the entire text channel. Wait, Dr. Blitz, your stuff is muted.
That is exceptionally funny. I still want the link, though.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Watch them block me or ban me or something.
These guys are
Well.
the goats. No, I have no bad blood towards them. I don't know. No hate, no bad blood.
This is so funny.
All right. Golak says, imaginary friend into existence. Yes, that is, to me, I think that's the ontological argument, but that's kind of the goal, is to define the God into existence. And you just hope that they're going to agree with you, your definitions and whatnot, so you can get there. Dr. Joe, my friend, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, please use these funds to buy an actual conversation about God, theology, belief, the Bible, or doctrine. Also, good morning. Good morning to you, Dr.
If only.
Joe. I hope you're doing well, friend. And from Matt, thank you for the super chat. Says, FYI, Cap's Discord is public. Yeah. Kylo has been telling him what to say in real time. He's also admitting to being bad faith on purpose. You should probably not bring up these KG people anymore. Yeah, there's like a whole group of them.
So the reason why Cap came up was because I spoke with him on Friday after I had an hour and a half long conversation with Kylo. And Kylo ran a syllogism, which, I was being maximally charitable, as I tend to be on my own live streams. And after sufficiently redefining the words omnipotence and omniscience, we came to the conclusion that yes, his granting granting one particularly problematic premise, he came to the conclusion that yes, a necessary omniscient, omnipotent being exists. And I'm like, yeah, if we grant this problematic premise, which seems reasonable, that's true. But by omnipotent, he means a thing that can do all possible things, or rather a thing that can coexist with all physically possible things. And omniscient is a thing that grounds true facts. And I'm like, oh, well, that's consistent with a universe that is fundamental and necessary, i.e.
Well, yeah.
priority monism, physicalism.
Wouldn't that just wouldn't that just define omnipotence as necessity?
His version of omnipotence is like that it can actualize all things that are possible. Possible here referring to those things that are physically possible, because physically possible things in the actual universe, or logically possible things in the actual universe, are physically possible. And by actualize, he just means what was it exactly? It's something like it can be the case that they exist in the actual world.
That seems
as a
compatible with
consequence
like
of this fun. Yeah, it's compatible with atheism.
Well, it seems
Like
compatible
Kylo
with like a
just-
wave function.
It is. It's exactly that. And so, like, yeah, if a wave function is omnipotent and omniscient, then I guess you're a Catholic.
True.
Or rather, if a wave function is necessary, then you're a Catholic, right? Like,
True.
Okay, I guess.
Facts.
Anyway, it was a fun bit. So, oh, hey, the Elliot argument's here. Let's bring him up.
Yo, there's no
fucking
way
A.
this guy's coming up.
No, there's no way.
All right, let's do
No,
it.
Let's send him an invite.
Which account is it?
He's now blocked me on 3 accounts, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need-
there's
Invite him up.
don't ask yourself why he's never going to debate us, why he never will come up and debate us. You know, I'm sure he has
In
great
fact,
reason to
so
dodge
hi-
us for the last like couple of years.
So his reasoning is that, oh, well, he doesn't want to come into a non-neutral platform. So I'm like, look, I was actually in his comments, or in his live channel, last week or something. And I'm like, look, like we don't even have to do it in a neutral place. I'll come onto your channel. We can talk about it. And he refused, and instead just called me a little bitch because
Oh.
he didn't even want to bring me up in a place that he had advantage.
Damn.
Because
Yeah,
apparently
and
he's too
that
cowardly.
makes you a little bitch.
Indeed, it does. I would never say that though. Disavow.
Well, anyways, we've got Mitch Davey in here now. How you doing, Mitch?
Sorry, it was an accident.
Oh, no worries. We'll take care of it. Looks like next in line is going to be Highballer. Not Mitch.
Hi, baller. Can
Maybe.
you hear us?
He's loading. I got loading dots over here. We got Umar over here as well. Oh, Highballer dropped, so that's not happening. We'll just move on to our other guest here.
Wait, does Elliot use our faces in his background now?
Probably.
No, that's there was like
That's
that
Matt,
one.
right?
That's Matt. Yeah, Matt GPT.
Yeah. That's a very funny name, by the way.
So let me bring in Umar, and then we'll get Charlotte after Umar. Have we talked to Umar
Works for me.
before? I don't know. Let me see. I feel like I've talked to Umar before, but we'll find out. Welcome
I feel
in.
like I have too.
Yeah, right. Welcome in, Umar. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Howdy.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. I just came here to ask some questions about your worldviews, if you don't mind.
Sure, that's fine.
Sure.
But first, how old are you and what religion?
Muslim, I'm 19 years old.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys as to whether you're philosophical naturalists or not.
Maybe. Although I think atheism is compatible with the supernatural. Like, for example, you could be like an atheist and believe in like ghosts. So
Yeah, like
personally,
spiritual
I think that
atheism.
we're all naturalists, but I do think atheism, like the claim on screen, is compatible.
Okay, but most atheists subscribe to physicalism, meaning materialism or philosophical
It's
naturalism. So I would be
the trouble
assuming
is
you guys.
it's really hard to define what physicalism is.
Mhm.
Because, if physicalism is just the stuff that physics talks about, then like in some sense you would say that believing in quarks would have been a non-physicalist worldview 100 years ago. And that's a little bit fraught. So like there's kind of two versions of physicalism, both of which are probably problematic in terms of how they're defined. One is that you think that the only things that exist are those things that physics currently describes, which is obviously limited and is almost certainly wrong. Or you think that the only things that exist are those things that fit that some final version of physics will inevitably describe. And then maybe that includes ghosts, maybe that includes gods, maybe it includes magic. Like, who knows? It's hard to say what physics will inevitably describe when it's done. So
Yeah.
describing, even defining what physicalism is hard. And so that's why, like, I generally hold the position that I'm like loosely physicalist in the sense that like I think that there are like my view is something like, well, if you can describe something in some sort of like way that you can perhaps test or measure, and maybe you can describe mathematically or something like that, then those are the kinds of things that exist, and things that you can't do that don't. But it's really hard to describe what exactly this means.
So the three of you wouldn't describe yourself as materialists or philosophical naturalists or
Certainly
or
not a
physicalists?
materialist. I don't know what the distinction is between philosophical naturalist and just a naturalist, or a methodolog. I guess I know what a methodological naturalist is,
Yeah,
but I don't
because
know what a
theists
philosophical
can
naturalist is.
subscribe to methodology. Yeah.
So what is a
Theists-
philosophical naturalist?
Well, I feel like a metaphysical, if you're like an ontological naturalist, you're saying that it goes beyond method, that in reality there are none of those entities.
None of which entities?
My understanding of like methodological naturalism is that you're supposing that there are no like supernatural things out there for your
Okay, but
inquiry into the world.
What's a
and then,
supernatural thing?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it gets unclear. Maybe you want to take the Giga Chad position and say the natural just is the mathematical.
Perhaps.
No,
But-
how I would describe philosophical naturalism is the belief that there is nothing outside of our physical world.
Oh,
Yeah, but does that, like, if ghosts live in the physical world, would that mean that ghosts are real, or ghosts are natural rather?
No. It positively asserts that there is nothing beyond our physical world, and everything that we see,
Right, but
everything that is
what is accounted for by the physical world? Does that include if ghosts are real, would that mean that
the
ghosts are
universe
part of our
or the
physical world?
cosmos.
Well, wait, but okay, let's say that there was like different wave functions out there. Would those things be like supernatural? That seems like
No,
a bad definition.
no. So what do you mean? If you can
So
simplify, please.
so maybe you want to say that the universe, there's like a universal wave function that goes along with it, that the universe is one big quantum system. But let's say that there are like multiple quantum systems that exist. Like some of them are outside of this quantum system. Well, those things would be outside of the universe, but I think I'd want to say that those things are physical. So I'm not sure if that definition really makes sense. I don't know, Dr. Blitz, does that make sense?
This is my issue, and it was Danny that actually convinced me that like all of this talk about naturalism and physicalism and materialism is like made up distinctions that we probably shouldn't be using anyway. It's safe to use them in like a colloquial sense, but if you're actually getting down to like what do people actually believe, then like, look, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in gods. I think that like quarks and photons and electromagnetic fields and people and stars, these things exist. Maybe other universes exist that are similar to our own, but not exactly like our own. But I don't believe in ghosts and I don't believe in gods. I don't know. Maybe that elucidates the viewpoint.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So you would say that everything that exists is essentially made out of these things.
No, I'm not. I'm not making a conclusive like holistic claim that these are the things and these are the only things. What I'm saying is that these are definitely things that I do believe in, and these are definitely things that I don't believe in. Now, there's probably a bunch of wiggle room between those two, depending on which way the science falls. But
No, so so you believe that certain things like quantum fields, quantum particles, and matter exist, and things like
yep,
ghosts and other spiritual entities, they don't.
right.
So that's what you would say. Okay, so would you believe that? Do you think that everything that exists, or most of the things that exist, essentially come down to quantum particles or matter?
I mean,
Would
it
start
depends
with
on that depends on how physics ends up being. Like maybe, I mean, it's not clear that like quantum fields are matter at all, but quantum fields give rise to matter perhaps. But even quantum fields might not be fundamental, and there might be something deeper down. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say, and I'm not gonna commit to saying that quantum fields is the ultimate foundation, and like that's just not a commitment that I'm going to make because I can't predict the future.
Yeah, luckily atheism is compatible with both views.
which both ways you're talking about?
It's compatible with the view that at the foundation is like the quantum fields, and it's compatible with the view that there's like something deeper than the quantum fields. It might even be compatible with the view that at
ghosts
the
are real.
foundation is like the particles. Who knows? I
But
don't
you
know. It
would
just seems to be compatible with quite a few views. So it might be too early in the physics game to make claims.
No, okay, that's good. Okay, thanks, guys. That's all I really wanted to ask.
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. Have a nice day.
You're welcome. I thought that he
thought
was
maybe
using the
we'd-
questions as a
Yeah.
yeah.
Thought there might be something
Like
more
as a
happening after that.
bridge.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I
You
guess
truly did just have some questions about our
Honestly,
worldview.
I actually appreciate the honesty.
Sure.
He wasn't just using it as like a dishonest way to attack a view, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me grab Super Chat or two, then we'll talk to question. And currently our TikTok guest box is empty, which is uncommon. But we got one in YouTube. Dr. Carr says, Cap.
Well, it would, just to be clear, it wouldn't be empty if the Elliot argument wasn't a coward.
That's true.
True.
The Elliot argument, more like the Smelliot argument.
True. God, eviscerated. Are you gonna take that, the Elliot argument? Are you really gonna let Dr. Blitz belittle you like that?
I don't know, man.
Well,
I guess if the Elliot argument wasn't Smelliot, then he wouldn't hide in the comments.
The Felliot argument, the way that Dr. Blitz just felled him.
The Helliot argument, the way that he's currently burning in hell because I have felt him.
True.
Oh, no.
True.
it's getting silly. Let's bring in question.
Wait, the super chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Super Chat.
Many apologies. I forgot what I was doing. Dr. Carter says, Cap, the $5 words and fake ego are not marks of true intelligence. A truly smart person is able to adequately talk with and explain dense concepts to people who aren't experts in a particular field and have. Yeah. So this Dr. Carr, you've heard my complaint over and over again on this. Listen, if you can't use normal people words to explain things, you're really just there to sound smart. Like the audience doesn't care what you're saying typically. They're lost. And so, but you know what? It makes them feel special. So
I do think this is something that I don't like about the Discord spaces, and it's something that it's definitely maybe I'm just like a boomer at this point in terms of like Discord
You're
debate
not.
space. Maybe I'm a Discord debate boomer, but I don't know. I really think that like the Discord debate meta has leaned more and more towards like total obfuscation. I think that was always kind of part of the strategy, was to like obfuscate with like words. That's kind of always been like a strategy that's on the table, to like gibberate a bit. But like the more time passes, the more it feels like it's like so blatant in terms of like the obfuscation. It kind of feels like people aren't even trying. Like the goal is, it's not even like that you have like a point and then you're like obfuscating that point a little bit. It's like there is no point. There's only obfuscation.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, Dr. Carla. Oh, the question just dropped.
Oh, sad.
Well, no, we don't have any guess. That is sad. Okay. Did we win? Did we beat all the theists then?
I think so.
I think
Hey,
that's
if
how
you're a
that works.
theist, if you think God does exist, you should join. You should join and debate us. It's on the link is on the screen, tiny.c/UA guest, or on a disc or what is it, TikTok. We'd love to see you.
You know what else you could do if you're a theist and you want to debate us, but you can't come in today? You could come to New York in October or California in November, and you could debate us in person. And you can make fun of us in person, because I'm uncomfortably tall and lanky. Justin is smaller than he looks on camera, and Ian is just right.
Exactly. I'm the perfect size.
Definitely come and see us.
I
though.
actually hear that you're uncomfortably tall and lanky as well.
Am I? From who do you hear this?
From you.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm
outed
like,
himself.
I'm like 6 foot. I feel like I'm normal height.
Well, yeah, but are you lanky?
Kind of. I'm like normal
Uncomfortably so.
proportioned.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Well, here we are being normal proportioned.
True.
Cringe.
True.
Got a normie over here. Well, we'll read some super chats here from Hey Laney. Says E3 inspired me to pursue a higher education, but I can't afford it, so I'm using y'all's knowledge instead. Hey Laney, I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't know where you're from. You might qualify for a Pell Grant, and
That's true.
you can at least maybe get your say like your tuition paid using Pell Grant. I don't know about books and other things, but what is the current Pell Grant, like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year or something? I
I
forget.
have no idea.
But it's
I mean,
it's worth
look,
looking into.
The reality is that university is extraordinarily expensive, but
Yeah.
community college is very affordable.
Yeah.
It's like extremely affordable. Now, not to say that like if you are living in poverty, like you still won't be able to afford community college, because like if you're struggling to put food on the table, then extra expenses are extra expenses. But if you're surviving okay, community college is possibly doable, and so you could at least start there and see if it's even worth your time to like save up and invest into go get more higher education, because for some people they find that they an associate's is enough, or maybe they want to go further, and it depends on the person, but it's at least a place to start.
It's also quite common to like say do your first 2 years at a local community college,
Exactly.
get your prereqs done, and then transfer somewhere. You'll save a ton of money doing that. In fact, that was my route.
Yeah,
Adrian,
I think it's like a very wise thing to
sorry.
do.
I mean, if you're an adult, that's the smartest thing to do, because like a lot of kids don't want to do that. They want that college experience right out of the gate. But like if you're an adult, you don't care about that. Just get your prereqs done as cheap as possible and move on.
Yeah,
Adrian
that's true.
says, Cap, no, your bounty can't take this beating. Think of your win-loss ratio.
Yeah, I think his win-loss ratio just went from 0 to 3 to 0 to 4.
Well, I lost track of the KGs now, but I'm pretty sure I talked to Cap KG recently, and he just crashed out for 5 minutes over the fact that my syllogism didn't use the word if, and then I was like, okay, we're done here. Maddie, hey,
Got
thank you
destroyed,
for the
Justin.
$5.
Also,
Keep
did
it
you know
up.
that he posted a video of you. Did you know that?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, Cap KG annihilates deconstruction.
I'm sure.
And it
Yeah,
has your picture in it. It's
his
lovely.
complaint was that my syllogism, while it was sound and valid, it didn't use if. Apparently, if you're using
It's not sound invalid. You got to use a
proper
hypothetical, or
inference
you have to use
rules, you have
yeah,
to
you
include
gotta use
the
all
if.
the
You're
right
not
language.
allowed to use implied ifs. Although he was wrong.
didn't.
If you look it up,
There's
you
no
can use
way.
implied ifs. Yeah.
He didn't grant that it was sound. If he grants that it's sound, then he would have to
No,
grant
no,
the
no.
conclusion.
No, he didn't grant that.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Justin's
He-
saying that it is sound.
It was he said.
Oh,
he
I
said
see.
he said it doesn't matter if the premises are true because I don't have it in the if then format, which is
Bro
you
got
know,
wrecked on modus ponens.
apparently, yeah. Let's bring in a good question, but the premises were obviously true. We'll get question back up here. Welcome back. Question: Are you at least 18?
Yes.
Awesome.
Welcome
And
back.
do you believe in some kind of a god?
Yes.
Sure. Which one?
Okay, why should we believe in it? Oh, that's a better question,
I
Justin.
would actually want to ask you, if you don't mind.
Okay. Ask us what?
And my question towards you three would be, do you believe that your worldview is based on solid ground, or do you believe it's also based on assumptions?
Oof. I don't know. I think it's. I'd like to think that it's. Well, first of all, I think that might be a false dichotomy. There are certainly people who. There are like certainly views of like epistemology that like you could be like a coherentist about it, and you could say that what matters for the worldview is that it coheres with itself. And then that would reject the dichotomy that you proposed. But I mean, I'd like to think that we have good justification for the things that we believe.
Yes, but do you think still the base is based on assumptions or on solid ground, so you can prove every single thing?
Oh, prove or provide evidence for? I think I could provide evidence for everything that I believe, but like a deductive proof, like I don't think I'm going to be able to deductively
Probably
prove.
impossible.
Would you accept it as
Everything.
evidence if it's circular?
Having an assumption is different from it being circular, just to be clear.
No, but I'm asking, would you accept it as evidence or as enough evidence if it's circular?
I think atheism is probably compatible with like a coherentist view.
It's also
Where-
probably
where
compatible
you-
with foundationalists, by the way.
Yeah. I think it's compatible with. It's probably also compatible with infinitism about justification. I guess I think atheism is probably compatible with all of the different epistemological justification structures.
And I'm a quietist about which one I adhere to.
Okay. And I have a question to DZ, if he doesn't mind.
Sure.
No, he's been waiting for it.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard you say once that logic is just a language. So my question would be, you don't believe that the laws of logic would actually be reality without humans, so that a squared circle would maybe be a possibility?
No, it's not at all. What I'm saying is the laws of logic don't exist independently. They're describing like the isness of something. So it's not that the laws
Independently
of
of what?
logic exist and then reality is checking with the laws of logic to see what it can do. The laws of logic are a way of us describing how the universe behaves in terms of its ontology.
Okay, that's it on my part.
Okay, so
Oh.
question for you then: Why believe in a god?
I think the alternative makes, from my point of view, less sense.
Why?
Why?
Okay, so
Because for me, like, what I'm observing right now is life comes from life, intelligence comes from intelligence,
Ooh.
existence is still coming from existence, and based on
all of
this,
those
I
things
would,
all of those things seem to be arguments for a a non-physical god not existing,
Yeah, they seem to be arguments for like an infinite regress of life.
and an infinite regress of intelligence, and an infinite regress of existence.
and that would follow if I would say or agree that God is not in that sense physical.
I don't
think
know
that-
how that helps you, right? Do you think God is alive?
Yes.
Okay, and life always comes from life, so then God comes from some further thing.
I don't believe in an infinite regress. I don't think that's a possibility.
So then you think that there is at least one case where life does not come from life. Indeed, where
But
life can arise spontaneously, perhaps.
no,
Yep.
it doesn't arise at all. It always
Well-
existed. That would be the position.
Okay,
So what is it? What is life?
that's a good question.
And do you mean from a biological standpoint or
Whatever
generally?
sense,
Because
whatever
in
sense
one
you mean
sense
when
it
you
can be
say-
just existing, and in another
So-
being alive. Like actually,
Yeah, so question, to clarify. You said that we observe life only comes from life. So whatever sense of life you were using there, please define it.
Right, and keep in mind
Organically.
that your God is alive. So I what I need is for your definition of life to cover my life and God's life. How, when we say
a good
that we
point.
have life, what does it mean?
When we say life comes from life, what is that the same kind of life that God has life?
Yeah, I would believe in something like a soul. Maybe you will call it consciousness. So
So you think that like, so, but we were talking about life. By life, you just mean something with a soul?
yes, essentially.
So trees
Do
are not
bacteria
alive.
have souls?
Yeah.
Again,
Do bacteria have souls?
I don't know.
Well,
would
if
guess
they,
so.
You would guess
that's an enormous claim. So like bacteria can go to hell?
Not necessarily. It doesn't mean just because you have a soul, you will either go to hell or to heaven. That's now just an assumption on your part.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I was just asking, but go ahead, Ian.
Well, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, like, obviously, we're not going to grant that. If by life you mean something with a soul, obviously we don't grant that. Like, we don't grant that souls exist.
Of course, that's why I said consciousness.
Well,
But a
you
bacteria
said you're
isn't
Muslim, right?
conscious.
You don't.
I don't want to butt in, but
I
question. I'm
would
pretty
say
sure
there are
in
different-
Islam,
different
everything
types
with
of
a soul,
consciousness.
doesn't everything with a soul like have an afterlife?
No, not necessarily. There are animals when we believe that they act. In this case, I know from our theology that they have a soul, but they won't have a part on the afterlife, except for some specific animals.
Okay.
So okay, sure. So just to be clear, you originally said soul, but then you said, okay, well, consciousness, at least we can agree that that exists. But then we don't see consciousness as a thing that comes from consciousness, right? We only see consciousness coming from, we only see like human consciousness coming from humans, but we don't see like, you know, if we go back in time, you know, humans, whatever humans came from wasn't always conscious. Like bacteria aren't conscious. But if you wind the clock back far enough, humans'
That's with the
ancestors are
assumptions that
bacteria.
people come then from bacteria. Or
Oh, so you're
that-
questioning evolution then? Okay, well now we have good reason to reject the entire worldview if your worldview is contingent on evolution being false, because we have overwhelming evidence that evolution is true.
No, wait. One thing, just because I see always this mistake being made. Even if I were to grant you that actually evolution is a fact, that humans can come from apes, that doesn't necessarily follow that this is actually what happens, because there can be multiple ways how human can derive.
No. The claim is not humans can; it's that humans did. That's the
Yeah,
other side of the
you
claim.
claim now that they did, but
Yeah,
my
we have
point is
overwhelming
it doesn't
evidence for that.
logically follow. It doesn't have to be only how humans can come.
I'm not making a claim that is like deductive. I'm making a claim that is evidentiary, namely that we have overwhelming evidence that human evolution did happen. So we have good reason to reject any view that relies on it having not happened.
Okay.
So like, why would you rather reject? Like, it seems like that the view that you hold relies on the overwhelming evidence for human evolution being false. But it sounded like you came in and you said, well, the alternative to the theistic position was not satisfactory, was not, I don't remember the exact word that you used. It was
No, I
not
didn't
enough, it
say
wasn't
that.
convincing.
I think just from my my point of
less-
view, right now, the alternative makes less sense because.
Right, but the
if
alternative is the thing with more evidence. That's the point.
No, okay, let's grant you about how humans came to be, but I'm talking about generally existence. So
No,
it's
I
not just
understand that, but your position necessarily implies that human evolution is false. So it necessarily follows that your position has less evidence for it than the alternative.
Okay, let's grant you that. Let's say that is absolutely the case. That only would mean that one specific religion would be false, and not that God overall is less likely.
Okay, but then you have to provide some other reason to think that God overall is likely again.
Okay,
Because it
then
sounded like your
I wanted
position
to
was
go to
based
that
off
point,
of
if you don't
consciousness coming
mind.
from consciousness. Okay, so we're no longer using the claim that consciousness comes from consciousness as a evidence for your position. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, the alternatives would be, as much as I know, either the universe always existed, and since it's a time-depending existence, so you would have to say that we can reach infinity, or you're saying that
doesn't
the
follow.
universe created itself. That
No,
would be
those
like
aren't
saying
the
a
only two
mother giving
options.
birth to herself, or you're saying that it's coming from absolutely nothing. And how can nothing, which
Those
has
aren't
no
the only three
abilities,
options.
create something or make even
That's not the
something?
only three options.
Those
Yeah.
aren't-
Okay,
you're
then
miss-
give me another option.
Maybe
yeah, a
it's
timeless space giving rise geometrically to a temporal space-time.
I have to watch what that even means, and if that actually would logically follow what you're saying.
I don't know what you mean by logically follow. I'm giving you an alternative that you weren't considering before.
Yes, this from my point of view, these are just words. I don't know what they mean, and if they
Okay.
actually would be something categorically different from what I already
It
said.
is, yeah. So on the one hand, in such a universe where you have time arising geometrically from a non-temporal, purely spatial universe, it certainly is not past eternal because there was a first moment of time. It didn't come from nothing because there was never nothing, and it didn't create itself because nothing was created. So it avoids all three of those options.
Okay, thank you. This is something I will think about, and if you don't mind, I will come back.
Here's another thing to think about. Do you think that God had eternally created, or do you think that he begins to create at some point?
As much as I know, Islamic theology differs on these things. The Atharis will say that both school of thoughts will say that there clearly wasn't always existence, but we are talking about the ability. God always had the ability to create, and then decided at one point. Now this is one school of thought, that he decided at one point to create, and the other is he always had the same will, and he always had the will to in a certain point to create.
Yeah, so this runs into a problem, which is that, so if you're saying that eternally God intends to create, and then at a specific point he exercises his causal power, he begins to create, well, then that God changes from not creating to creating. But if he changes, then he's in time. So then you run into a bit of a dilemma. Either there's a first moment in God's temporal existence, in which case God begins to exist, or God just has like the infinite temporal regress.
Okay.
You got anything else?
No, I said already before that I will think about what you said, and
for sure.
if you don't mind, I will come back.
Okay, sounds good. Cheers, bud.
Bye.
Interesting. Well, friends, we've got another guest waiting to get in, and we've got some super chats. I think what we'll do, because our guest queue is low, we'll get our next guest in here, and then if we don't have another one by the time they leave, we'll read some super chats. Now is a fantastic time to get into the guest box. If you wait, until 2:30 to get into the guest box, we're probably not going to be able to pull you in because our show ends at 3. So now's the time to get in, and for now, we'll get. Let me see if I can read this. Noob Master? That seems this name is super
Noob
trolly.
Master 69. No,
yeah,
bro just was PKing in like level 19 wilderness in 2006.
Wait, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's your favorite DDS, or what's your favorite Dragon Dagger?
No. It's actually from Avengers. If you've seen.
Bro doesn't even have a favorite Dragon Dagger. Cringe.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't even know what that is. So, but
meet me in the Willy.
Yeah, no. Wait, what?
Never mind. You're good. Continue.
Dr. Blitz, ignore Dr. Blitz. He's entering into Unk status.
I'm
Sorry,
just the
I'm a
reposting.
bit younger, so I'm 20. I know. My bad. But yeah, so I just want to come in here, just kind of have like a respectful debate. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not really like extremely educated. Like if you pull out some like kind of esoteric, probably not esoteric to you, but like some sort of like the terminology, I'm not super clear on. I just want to like kind of put that out
That's
there.
all
fine.
good. We're happy to
Yeah,
clarify any terminology.
cool. Yeah, and yeah, I just kind of want to get y'all's opinion on kind of my worldview. So I'm like an agnostic theist. I don't really subscribe to any like particular religion just because I don't find the evidence all that compelling of like Christianity, for instance. But I do think like metaphysical stuff and kind of like the origin of the universe really trips me up, and so I think it's probably more plausible, just in my opinion, that there is some sort of intelligent mind behind it all.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
one thing that I don't think this is like a decisive knockdown argument, but it's one thing that I think should make you like a bit hesitant is that if you look to the metaphysicians that currently exist, like if you go and survey all of the people in philosophy departments that do metaphysics, the majority of them are going to be atheists. And if you go and survey all the people that do origin of the universe stuff in the physics department, most of them are going to be atheists as well. So I don't think either of those things, like prima
yeah, but
facie, I don't think that either of
yeah,
those
I
things
mean,
should lead you to a belief in God.
I see your point. It's not necessarily like a scholarly consensus or anything, but like it's the point I would bring up, and the reason why you probably said it was not a knockdown argument is, like let's say for example 100 years ago, I think Dr. Blitz actually made a similar argument, just in a different context. But like 100 years ago, 150 years ago, obviously like we didn't really have any idea about quantum mechanics, for instance, and stuff. So it's like you could take a poll of people who have certain metaphysical beliefs, and they would have no relation to what we now believe. And so I think that there is like this idea of progression scientifically at some point. So I don't necessarily like subscribe to like exactly, and just say like, oh, I'm just going to believe. I mean, I do think it's like a decent argument to just believe what the experts believe, but I don't think it's like a knockdown, as you said. Like
Well,
there are
yeah,
some wiggle room there.
So this is I think that it's probably I think that what you can probably say from this this claim that like most metaphysicians, most cosmologists are atheists is probably something like, look, it's at least not as cut and dried as I thought it was. From your perspective, you might say, look, it's not as cut and dried as I thought it was. Maybe I should just be agnostic about this whole thing until I learn more. Like why are most philosophers, most metaphysicians atheists? Why are most cosmologists atheists? Like, is there some fact that explains how they could be so wrong? If there is, then great. Now you have a reason to think that, even though that is the consensus, that that they're wrong. But if you can't point to some fact that would lead all of these people to be incorrect about this, then it's at least it should at least give you some pause, right?
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I mean, I'm gonna try to make my case. Obviously,
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know if
Sure.
I can like point to facts exactly, but I think like I actually kind of agree with what Dr. Blitz said to the other caller just now about the kind of like non-temporal, and I'm just like paraphrasing, so please correct me. But
Sure,
like,
you're fine.
just like this like non-temporal space, perhaps like infinite, perhaps the vacuum of space. I don't know exactly how you define it. That is this like precursor to the material world, and it like geometrically gives rise to the material universe. Is that kind of
Yeah, it's
what you
so the way to think about this is like we have this intuition of what like space is. Just take that but throw away time and make it 4-dimensional instead of 3-dimensional, but don't worry about that. You throw away time, you just have like this static thing that could have stuff in it, but it's not doing anything. It's completely static. The time just doesn't even exist. And as a result of so you can kind of think of it as like a bunch of places, but one of those places is where time starts. And so like if you're hanging out here, there's no time here. But as you go left, oh well, if you go left far enough, that's the first moment of time. And then that's the first moment of time, and then time continues. So that's kind of the way to think about it. But notably, this is like completely non-theistic, right?
Yeah, of course. And I actually think like Ian, for instance, has an interesting argument against like the eternally creating God. And I suppose like there's similar attributes, but you avoid it by like kind of making the claim that there is this point where time begins and it sort of emerges from the underlying attributes, and you're kind of claiming that those attributes themselves are fundamental.
So the reason why what I'm suggesting completely annihilates Ian's argument is because Ian's argument presupposes an A theory of time, whereas
True.
mine presupposes a B theory of time, which is
Yeah.
generally more accepted.
Yeah, although I will say, I do think it's hard to reconcile B theory with the doctrine of creation ex nihilo. That a lot of theists want to say that God created out of nothing, that there was some state of nothingness, and then from this state where God exists alone, he begins to create everything, or something like that. But under the B theory of time, there isn't a state where God exists alone. He's just always chilling with the universe.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And that would obviously be like a very big blow to traditional theistic
Yeah.
kind of arguments, right? Yeah. So I see what you get out there. Wait, I just have a question for Dr. Blitz regarding some of that. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I just asked because I can't, for some reason, I can't see anyone. It's a problem on my end, so I didn't know. If
Oh,
anybody
that's actually not in your end. I
saw it.
apologize. I forgot to send you the. I'll do it right now. One sec.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah. So but let's say before the universe was created, what exactly? You said this is like static space. Is this
So it's
similar
not
to, like, the
so
vacuum of space? Or...
So to be clear, there is no before the universe was created. In this view, the universe was never created. There was a first moment of time, but that first moment of time doesn't coincide with the universe being created.
So the universe would be eternal?
No. This is why, like, this is such a common misunderstanding when people try to reason, like, cosmologically about this. The point is there can be a first moment of time, but there was stuff that is geometrically prior to that first moment of time, right? I take eternal to mean that, like, for every moment of time, there was a moment of time before it.
Sure,
but there can be a first moment of time, and then if you, like, imagine that you are on a path through space-time going backwards. There's 3 dimensions of space, and then 1 dimension of time, and you're following that time dimension backwards. As you go further and further back, the universe gets hotter and hotter, it gets smaller and smaller. But then as you keep following that line, eventually, time stops being time and it starts being space. That's the idea that you should have. And so it's not like, even though there was a first moment of time, that would be that place on your line where time stops being time and starts being space. It's not like there was nothing before it. If you use before in the sense of, like, following the line backwards.
That's not what I was. Yeah, and I understand why. Kind of my contested point there. Kind of like my point I was making made it sound like that. I don't want to say that there was nothing before that point, but just that the thing that was before that point is not the universe.
Well, okay, so if you want to say that it's not the universe, that's fine. It's just something that is a lot like our universe and is, kind of connected smoothly to our universe, in that there's not, like, a gap.
Okay.
But you could say that it's not our universe in the sense that we understand it, because our universe is a thing with time in it, and so we would understand a thing that doesn't have time to not really be like that. And in that case, you could say that. But that thing is purely spatial. There is no time at all.
Right. Yeah. And so what is that spatial thing?
It's
it's
just
a different type of material, or
it would be
any insight
exactly
there?
the same material.
Okay.
It's just there's no time there.
So yeah, it's just the fabric of space without the
And
time.
perhaps there's matter as well. You could in principle have matter, I guess.
Right, because I guess like one of the questions would be, these fundamental things that I guess geometrically give rise to time, and then I guess you would say form the universe in how we know it today, not create it, right? That would be a better description, perhaps. Like, what would those fundamental things be? You're saying it could be matter. Are you, like, agnostic?
Well,
to that?
yeah. So there'd still be space. There would still be, in principle, there could still be fundamental fields, like quantum fields, that still exist. They're just not doing anything because there's no time to do them. They just kind of exist there, like, statically. And it wouldn't be a very interesting place because nothing happens, because there's no such thing as happening in this chunk of reality. But there could still be stuff there. In fact, even the same kind of stuff that we have in our universe, just not doing anything.
But eventually they'd have to do something. No.
Eventually is not a word that makes sense in a timeless universe.
Okay, sure.
A timeless chunk of the universe. So what you could say is that somewhere, some time starts happening. That's somewhere, not somewhen.
But I feel
Eventually,
like-
somewhere
I feel like
else,
for it-
there's time.
But you're saying time starts happening. Doesn't that also not make
Yeah,
sense?
so this would be like saying that Tokyo starts happening if I move 6,000 miles to my east.
Right.
That's what I mean by starts happening.
That's like a confusing statement.
Yeah, it's hard to not use temporal language to describe things because that's just how we speak English. But yeah, think of it like this. Like, imagine that the whole world was actually almost a perfect analogy is something like, imagine that everything south of the equator is purely spatial. There's no like, it's just like a normal space. But then once you get to the equator, now moving more north is the same as moving forward in time.
Okay.
That's the way to think about it. So like,
interesting.
if you're south of the equator, there's no time there. It's just like it's just like spaces and locations. And it just happens to be because of the geometry that once you cross this boundary, this equator, that's where time is. Time is everything beyond that equator.
And this would also, then I guess that means it is compatible with like multiverse theory and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, all this stuff would be.
But it would just be in a different coordinate than our universe.
Yeah, maybe these
Like,
things get a
like
little bit
something
messy.
like, I'm trying to not use like
But,
the
yeah,
temporal language. It's difficult.
So there's two things to look up, and just because otherwise this is just becoming a physics lecture, which I'm happy to do, but that's not why people are here.
Sorry, but I am going to make my point. I don't worry, I am going to make my point.
Well, I was just going to say there's two things that you can look up. You can look up the Hartle-Hawking state. So Hartle is Hartle, and then Hawking is like Stephen Hawking. So if you look up the Hartle-Hawking state, that's kind of like the origin of this idea. But there are more modern interpretations. There's a paper that came out recently called, what is it? An Emergent Big Bang. The paper is called The Emergent Big Bang Scenario. It came out this year. Mm-hmm. And so that's something like, the physics is complicated, but the diagrams make sense. Like they draw some pictures and it kind of helps elaborate what the idea here. So I would pull up, either of those papers and just like, honestly, just download the files for either the paper talking about the Hartle-Hawking state or download the file for the Emergent Big Bang Scenario. Both should be freely available. And then like upload them to ChatGPT and ask it to explain it to you. And like, it's not going to give you perfect answers because, ChatGPT is imperfect, but at least it'll help you get an idea for the kind of thing I'm talking about. And hopefully that'll help because these are complicated topics and I get that. But look, you said you did have a point, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I will gonna thank you. I appreciate that. And I guess my point would be that I really kind of like the idea of this static space potentially having the attributes of consciousness, particularly if you subscribe to the idea of like Penrose's objective reduction theory, which I know is very
I believe it's orchestrated reduction.
Orchestrated objective reduction, I think. There might not be no objective there. I might be incorrect. But like obviously he posits that quantum fluctuations explain
Well, he's back.
Yeah, The thing is there are no fluctuations in a static or in a timeless universe.
But the parts where time the point in which time exists, the fluctuations would start happening, right?
Sure.
So is it plausible that those spatial coordinates could be conscious?
I mean, well, I don't think so. I don't buy Penrose's thing. Penrose's thing is like really far out there, and not a lot of people take it seriously. But like, even then, it's not saying that all quantum fluctuations are conscious. It's saying that consciousness comes from quantum fluctuations. It doesn't go both ways.
Right. I guess like my whole thing would be that if, like, do you believe that this static space? I'm gonna just try to like use that terminology. Would you believe that is like infinite in size, or is this like a very
the original Hartle-Hawking model was finite in size. The reason why the Hartle-Hawking model was not taken as seriously anymore is because it kind of assumed that the universe was finite in size, and we now have better reason to think that it's actually not. It's probably infinitely large. But the follow-up papers and the kind of like further developments of the idea assume or are compatible with finite size and compatible with infinite size.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I guess I would just kind of like try to make the claim that if it is infinite, the static space, then it would be like statistically almost certain, or at least I guess it would be.
Well, no, but
certain
there's no
that there
fluctuations
would
at all
be-
when there's no time, right?
But when there is, there are. So I wouldn't make the claim that, like, I wouldn't make a divine simplicity claim that God is the most fundamental thing. I would say, like, God, it can be decomposed into other fundamental things. But it is.
So
the case
your
that
claim
there's
would
a
just be that the
consciousness.
universe, at the first moment of time, the universe was God, or God is the universe, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Something like quantum panpsychist sort of thing. Like, I think that's.
Okay. Well,
That's
so
like
look,
a-
my position on this is merely that like this is seemingly indistinguishable from atheism,
Okay. Why do you say that?
because you believe in all the same things I do. You believe in quantum fluctuations. You believe in space time not not being created from nothing. Like all these things. Like it's just you think that like all that one of these things that we both agree on. You think that one of those things has consciousness as well.
Yeah. Also, I think it's probably worth pointing out that essentially what you believe in pantheism. I don't know if you
Maybe not even pantheism. Maybe panpsychism.
Well, so the professor whose classes I've been attending, apparently he holds like a view like this, where he thinks that it's at least like an open possibility that the universe itself is having like a mental experience, some sort of like qualitative experience, and he characterizes this pretty directly as like pantheism.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be like similar to my belief, where I just, because I guess the reason why would be that I find it I don't know why, I guess I find it non-intuitive that, and I know that's not like a scientific standard or anything, but I find it non-intuitive, at least in my opinion, that there isn't some sort of design behind it, like deliberately and consciously.
Oh,
Well, but that's not
but-
compatible with the view that you just espoused, right?
yeah.
Well, why not? I would say that it's like the
Because the
universe,
nature-
like the
so-
material universe is sort of willed, like it's manipulated to be created, or not created, but manipulated to be formed by the conscious mind at the point in
Well,
time.
let's take a look. Let's take a look at the idea, right? So you start off with a spaceless or a timeless thing, and the timeless thing in particular is has no fluctuation. So there's no room for will there, even under Penrose's OR theory. And it is the timeless thing that gives rise geometrically to the temporal, perhaps vice versa. I mean, like they're kind of mutually compatible. But the point is that the reason one could say that the reason why the first timeless moment is the way it is because of the way the spatial space was beforehand, in air quotes beforehand, geometrically beforehand, not like temporally beforehand. And if the spatial space was different, then the temporal space would also be different. So it seems like that the mind, which only exists in the temporal, can't have control over the way that it was.
I don't think it can have control over like how it was, how it came into being, or I don't know if that's the right word, but or how like its fundamental properties of itself. But I don't see why it couldn't have some sort of control over what follows from that consciousness.
Well, maybe.
Like imagine, like you could
But
like manipulate these things. Is what I'm
The
saying.
thing about Penrose's idea is that it doesn't break laws of physics, right? It doesn't say, oh, well, the consciousness can do things that we would expect the laws of physics to not do. Rather, Penrose's thing is just like consciousness is kind of like along for the ride. It's just like a qualitative experience, but it can't like make decisions. Everything still follows the laws of physics.
So that's why you like kind of jumped to the conclusion in the beginning that like the universe is God under my worldview, because it would sort of have
Yes,
to.
I mean, yeah, because it's not like maybe it's having a qualitative experience, but it's not doing anything deliberately. It's still just obeying laws
So
of
then
physics.
I would just run into the conclusion that consciousness under my worldview is like a fundamental property, just like time.
That's fine, but it's compatible with atheism. I mean, you'd be
Right, and I'm not. I guess I'm not disagreeing just because I'm trying to be intellectually honest as we follow the argument.
Yeah.
And I know it's a more radical kind of because the basis of it is controversial to say the least, but I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on
Yeah, there is
stuff like
there's
that.
an objection that I've been working through. I'm not sure. So mental states have this property called intentionality. Mental states are about something. When you're having an experience and it's an experience of something. So, you know, I have an experience of looking at this cup. That seems to require that there be a cup in order to have the experience. But is it just like it's unclear what experiences could be of if the fundamental thing is consciousness?
I don't know if experiencing a physical thing mentally purely requires the physical thing to exist. Because I think you can have like weird abstract mental experiences of non-physical things.
So,
but they might be grounded in like the physical, like a dream, for example. You know, your brain kind of like splices together its experiences maybe, and like
Man,
pulls
Justin
different
must be
things in the physical world.
dying.
But those things aren't actually.
It's a rough
real.
one. It just I hear Charlie Brown's Teacher. This is your
womp, womp,
for you
womp,
friends.
Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, that's so here's the problem: is that if indeed what the experiences of is of different mental states, well then those mental states would also need to be of something. So it seems like you run into like an infinite, like every mental state is composed of like an infinite regress of like being about some further mental state, which is then in turn about some further mental state, which is in turn about some fundamental or some other mental state.
I mean, maybe I think that's plausible, but I think it's kind of fair to say that it's just how we experience because we are sort of in the physical world. We are tied, you know, and that's how we experience the physical world. That's how we don't experience in any other way, but I don't know if that rules out that possibility. But it's not really like it's not really like an argument for anything, and kind of just yapping at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's all I'm pointing out is that it's like a bit of a strange thing. But regardless, is there anything else? Otherwise, we might move to the next guest.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I just wanted to kind of hash it out a little bit, but I appreciate you guys so much.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Okay. We've got a couple people waiting in line. I see Jordan and Vitor and also Zingbojo and Mother Mary. So we'll grab, I think first in line was Jordan, and we'll move on from there. Hey, Terry, my friend, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Dr. B on Quora, some smartass call me stupid because I don't know the difference between evidence and proof, scientifically speaking.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Quora's assessment.
That's terrible. Yeah, but we won't do that. Don't worry about it.
No, never.
Anki, thank you for the $7 super chat. So my church high school bully name was Justin. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Little did I know that someone of the same name would be the guy that helped me deconvert from the cult. Thank you, Justin. Well, fuck, Anki, I'm glad I can be the good Justin in your life. Huge W, and another huge W for deconstructing. And Spooky Dookie, amazing name. Thank you for the $24 super chat. FYI, chat with question. The name spelled Spooky Dookie deconstructed JW theology 1 year ago and left them. Oh, interesting. Lost all my social connections, but it was the best decision of my life. Got any slam dunk arguments against the JWs? I would say two things. One, the false predictions of the return of Christ, obvious. And then my favorite slam dunk against JWs is that the word Jehovah Witnesses is based on the reconstruction of Yahweh's name Jehovah, kind of as it shows up in the King James Bible. And as it would turn out, that's not the name that is in the Hebrew text. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what's happening there. It's a combination of two different words, and they didn't know that. They literally named their organization because they didn't know how to read Hebrew properly, and because they never looked at a Masorah. So that's my slam dunk. Tell them the word Jehovah doesn't even exist in Hebrew. Jordan's turn to come up. We'll get Jordan in here, and we've got a couple people in the guest queue, but we should have time for a couple more guests if you guys want to get pulled in here. Welcome
Absolutely,
in,
we do.
Jordan. Are you at least 18?
Oh, hello. Yes, yeah, I'm 18.
Awesome. And do you believe in God?
I do.
Awesome. Which God is it?
The God of the Bible, Judeo-Christian.
Gotcha. So you're Christian. What do you think is the best evidence or argument for the Christian God?
So I joined just because I had some questions on what Dr. Blitz was explaining regarding the space-time argument that he was discussing with the previous
Oh
guest.
no! You know what you want to do, Jordan? You definitely want to talk to Justin.
Okay, honestly, whoever, I just it wasn't really clear, and I'd be willing to talk about I guess my evidence, but I just wanted to at least make sure I had time to kind of wrap my head around how we could have you were saying going backwards in time kind of leads more into space, and thinking of time starting somewhere else, just kind of like thinking of Tokyo starting 6,000 miles to the east at some point. Um, and so just before I continue, is that a correct restatement of what you said
Yep.
before?
Yep.
So the way that I thought about this was, if there's a timeless or space that existed beforehand and time started elsewhere, would you consider a reference point for that timeless space? So, for example, if a bomb went off in that's probably a bad way to put it, but let's say something happened in Tokyo at the same time that there's this spaceless or timeless experience going on somewhere else, wouldn't there be a pre something in Tokyo in reference to that space and a post experience in Tokyo in reference to the space? So therefore, there would be kind
No,
of a
there's no
time.
time. There's no time relation. Um, a a better way to put it, and I use this analogy later because it's perhaps clearer than the Tokyo one, is imagine that if you you know how we like label positions as latitudes and longitudes, like 38 degrees north, 25 degrees east, or whatever, like on the
Sure.
globe. So imagine that anytime you have a position that's located in the northern hemisphere, so it has a north, has like 25 degrees north or 42 degrees north, that north stands for time. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, that north or the south stands for space. So then, as you go, like you could imagine being at different places in the southern hemisphere, and there's no time because you're just at a place. You have 26 degrees south, 38 degrees east. That's just a space. But if you happen to be in the northern hemisphere, your northern hemisphere, your northern or your latitude coordinate represents what time it is instead of where you are. And that's the idea. It's that there's some sort of transition that happens between purely spatial stuff, just locations, and locations plus times, and they're connected. That's the idea.
I guess I'm not following how there still can be an overall, like, let's take the globe for, well, this is going to be a really reduction of your argument, but let's take the globe for example. Even in that example where in that reference point x degrees, or latitude, longitude, those reference points to the north, the south would be space. Even in that example, something happening in my time in the north would still be
That would be
occurring at that.
no, it wouldn't. So
Yeah,
if
go ahead.
something happens at some time in the north, then that means that it's in the north, right? Whatever event you can, so keep in mind, something happening means it's at a particular it's at a particular latitude because a time is a latitude. It's a northern latitude. So let's say that, so the analogy would be something like, I got married at 35 degrees north, 22 degrees east, right? That specifies both the position, that specifies both when and where. But that's not in the southern hemisphere. So there is no time that corresponds to, because it's in the northern hemisphere.
Oh, okay.
Or there is
So
no
with that
time in the
example,
southern hemisphere that it corresponds to.
so that with that example, let's say that you got married at that latitude and longitude on Mars. That's completely outside of this
Yep.
latitude and longitude example. There's still Mars existed before the wedding, and Mars existed during and
No,
after. And so,
there is no before the wedding. The wedding was at 35 degrees north. That's the time when it happened, 35 degrees north.
I mean, I don't really. Does it matter how you explain the instance, whether it's latitude or longitude? Just the idea that I can.
No, but
You can.
all. So if there's a time, then it's in the northern hemisphere. There's just no times anywhere else.
So then, how do you explain? Okay, so if you go even further back, let's go back to your example. When you go further west, and now it's just space. That instance of time occurring, can you kind of give an explanation for how that would make sense if there's
Like the boundary between the two?
Yeah, like what is that cutover point from not non-existent, not no time, but existing space to time and existing space, but the
Yeah,
previous
it's
space in that
it's a
time period.
geometric relation. It's a geometric relation, so they're geometric related to each other. In the same way that like two sides of a triangle are geometrically related to each other by the angle between them.
Wait, Dr. Blitz, would it be accurate to say that it's causally prior?
No.
Fuck.
Unless you take causal to be
Yeah.
allowed non-temporally.
Yeah. Like if you
Oh.
just take it that
Okay.
if you just take causation to be something like the intersection of like a world line.
Yeah, but the world line loses its directionality. So,
So you probably couldn't say it's causal.
yeah, I mean,
Fuck.
Maybe you could, but it loses its directionality at the intersection point. So,
Okay.
So,
but yeah,
one,
I mean,
one other question, and
yeah, go ahead. And then
this
Justin's
may
gonna
be
quiz you.
not to be repetitive. Lord have mercy, please, Justin, don't quiz me. But anyway, that exact location where time occurs, let's say that longitudinal latitudinal space where time occurs
At the
in that
at the
exact
northern
point.
hemisphere, the equator. We'll call it the equator.
Sure, at the equator, time did not begin or did not exist before then, and then
It didn't.
Or
It
not-
doesn't
sorry, not
exist
be-
south
not
of it. It
before.
does
I
exist
won't say
north of
before.
it. Yeah.
yeah, not before it. So south and north. So time does not exist south, but it begins north, or it exists north. Did it
Yep.
always exist north?
You can't use always words when you're talking about time and
Oh,
time and space
sorry.
in this way.
Okay. Did it geometrically? Lord have mercy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Is
Sure.
there, well, probably the
Yeah.
phraseology you want is like, is there a state of affairs where?
Okay.
And then
is
the
there a
answer is
state of
no.
affairs where time
So
is
time was
present?
so time is north. If there exists a north, then there's time. If there exists a south, then there's no time. And on a sphere, there exists both a north and a south. So there's a time to the north of the equator. There's no time to the south of the equator. There are no other states of affairs other than the equator, other than the sphere. That just is
Okay,
the sum
can
total of all
you-
stuff.
Can you dumb it down so I can understand exactly precisely?
So
why
state of
they're-
affairs
why- how
is
the- how
just the
north-
way the world is. So think of state of affairs as the way reality is, right? In this view, that reality has two chunks. They're not at different times. They're not even really in different places. Just think of it as like two chunks of reality that are connected to each other. One chunk is spatial, one chunk is temporal and spatial, and they're joined at some sort of boundary that we would call the first moment of time.
Okay, so just to pause there. So there's two chunks of a state of affairs or reality. There's time, and then there's space and time. I'm sorry,
Yep.
there's space, and then there's
Yeah. And then there's space, and then there's space time.
at, I guess that origin. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So because I haven't been discussing that terminology for long, I may
That's fine.
miss out my words. So can we discuss
You're
this
fine.
in a different modem so that I can slip up and not have
We
it be it doesn't
We could, but what I would
Yeah.
recommend is, and there's going to be plenty of just because there's a lot of baggage to unpack here, and it is a fairly complicated idea, especially if you haven't heard it before. So what I would suggest is, I mean, look, people aren't here for a physics lesson. So what I would suggest is we instead pivot the conversation to talk about the God claim, etc., and then spend some time looking into this, and then you can always after you've done that, you can come back and we can talk about it at a later date.
So
and-
I would love to. Do you have like a particular resource that would be helpful for me to understand that idea of that I explained before?
Yeah, I mean, so probably if you just Google something called the Hartle-Hawking state, or something called the no boundary proposal, you will find what I'm talking about. That's probably and we can't hear you when you minimize the app, by the way.
Oh,
But
sorry.
yeah, so if you look
I
up,
was gonna
if
say
you
that's
Google
good.
if you Google no boundary proposal, you'll probably find the thing I'm talking about.
Okay. And Justin, not to I love you, man. I'll keep watching, but I was truly just wanting that answer. I've got to
It's
go
all right.
much, but
This is so evil.
All right, so
I'm so
for
sorry.
the rest of today, we're banning talks of the Hartle-Hawking state. It's been banned.
oh my gosh, no. Sorry guys. Sorry all 454 people.
Be gone,
That's
be
right.
gone, Jordan. Be gone.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see about. Well, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
We'll get one on the
People-
hook.
I mean, the thing is like, it is a slam dunk against the, oh, it either created itself from nothing or it's always existed, but like, that's not a true dichotomy, and the Hartle-Hawking state is a slam dunk against that. But unfortunately, it's complicated enough and it's unintuitive enough that nobody actually knows what I'm talking about, and it just becomes a physics lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the real goated application of it is when you're debating with like a Craigite who says that God is timeless sans creation and then temporal with creation. You can say, well, the universe is timeless
There you go.
sans expansion and then temporal sense expansion or some shit like that.
Well, we've got some people waiting to get in. I see Zim, I think, was next in line, and then Victor after that. Welcome in Zrim Bojo.
Zrim?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep, how you doing? Zrim?
Zrim Bojo?
Zrim?
We heard you for a
Can
second.
you hear me?
We can hear you.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. How are you
Okay.
doing?
We're great. How are you?
Well, Justin's a little bit upset, but the rest of us are fine.
Is there a delay?
Okay, good.
I'll get there. I think there's a terrible
might
delay
be.
with him.
When do you hear this?
Right now.
There's no delay.
Oh no, it must
Okay,
be
great.
his device.
Okay. Yeah, how old are you? What religion are you?
I am 38 and I don't know what religion.
Do you believe in God?
I think so.
And what do you mean by God? Do you mean something like an ultimate mind, like a mind that created the universe?
Yes, but I'm open to being disproven. I would like to be disproven or proven
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah. What makes you think
But-
that God
okay.
exists?
There's a problem, because I've been listening to you guys for a long time, and I can't believe I'm finally talking to you. But the one thing that was holding me up, well, when I heard about the cyclical universe model, I was excited to be proven wrong with that. And I was like, okay, that kind of explains it. We could have eternal universes just coming in and out. But then I'm looking into it, and it looks like, from what I'm finding, is that the cyclical universe model is not with dark energy. It seems like not many scientists are really into that anymore. So I'm wondering.
This is a
if there's
recent
anything else
development.
that I could.
Yeah, this is a
Okay.
recent development. So between like say 2003 and 2022 or so, maybe 2001 and 2022, we basically had really, really, really compelling evidence that dark energy was constant. It was called the cosmological constant. And in fact, somebody won a Nobel Prize for this. Like this was really, really good. And then there's a telescope based in Arizona, mind you, that started collecting data and started to make observations that were better explained by evolving dark energy. And once you have an evolving dark energy, once your dark energy is not a cosmological constant, a whole bunch more doors open up. A whole bunch more options suddenly become more viable now than they were if you assumed dark energy was constant. Because once dark energy is no longer constant, it can decrease, it can change, it can have dynamical features and all sorts of funny things, which opens the door. And so that's why you may be seeing a resurgence of people talking about this, because it's at least something that's no longer completely off the table.
Okay, so it's not off the table.
Yeah. Whereas it was for the last 20 years, at least most people thought so.
Okay. Okay. What about? Well, okay. If you could, I'm wondering if you can answer this sort of like, I don't want to take up too much time is what I'm saying. The other thing that I'm wondering about is the timeless state that I know you guys are tired of talking
Nope,
about.
it's banned.
Nope, it's banned.
Okay,
It's
okay,
banned.
okay. I'm sorry.
You can
I
only talk about
apologize.
God.
I apologize.
God is the only thing you can
Okay.
talk about.
Okay. I was just wondering if there's two different times of time. If is that an answerable question?
There could be multiple time series.
I know the A and B theory.
have,
I'm
like-
talking about like.
No, not
no,
even.
you can have like God time and universe time.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a time that requires change, and then maybe there's one that doesn't. Is that
Well,
true?
but there would be change in. Okay. Technically, there doesn't need to be change. It depends on your ontology of time. Maybe you want to say that time is like an independent thing, and that it could exist even if there's no change that takes place. But for simplicity's sake, you might want to say that there's like at least different times and across like the different points in the time series. That you have like these moments where some of the moments are before and some of the moments are after, but then you have a separate set of moments where some of the moments are before and some of the moments are after, but there's no relation whatsoever between the moments in each time series.
Okay. Well, I think you guys converted me. I appreciate it.
Oh fuck!
I don't know how that would possibly have converted you, but
Me neither.
sounds
You
good.
got him.
No, I just appreciate your time and the cyclical universe thing. I want the universe to be able to be eternal without anything causing it, and and that's what I want to believe.
But we got to go where the evidence is.
Wait a
But
minute, isn't that
Zrimbojo-
what the evidence shows?
No, we don't know. That's why I'm pretty agnostic about the issue. Although, aesthetically, I much prefer an eternal universe, but that's an aesthetic choice, not an evidence-based choice.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Blitzen
take
is
care.
epistemic humility over here.
We should debate this Mother Mary person. Hopefully they'll
should.
talk about the Bible.
But there's also Mother Mary believer. By the way, like I've written one paper on a cyclic model. I'm writing a second. I definitely have an inbuilt bias and preference for it. But when I'm putting my scientist hat on and like my my rational hat on, I'm like, look, these are models. We don't have evidence that they're true. There's not enough evidence to come to a conclusion either way, but these are something that's worth investigating. So,
yeah, for sure. And that's what it should be like in most fields. If you're doing real study, you can't just inject your opinions into it. Mother Mary is a believer because their name says so, but now there's two of them in the guest box. One says Mother Mary, one says Mother Mary believer.
I think Mother Mary was here first.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Maybe it's like the horsemen again.
They could be, yeah. Welcome in, Mother Mary, or at least 18. I wonder.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yes. Yeah, I'm speaking to Justin.
I mean, well, you're speaking to all
sir.
three of us right now.
Yes, you're speaking to Justin.
Yeah, I'm from
Justin,
India.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm from India. What you says that God's not real. So why
that is the claim.
you also that's the claim that you make, na? God's not real. So
Okay, so what's the
how
problem?
do you justify that?
Well, it's pretty easy.
let's-
So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna get clear. What religion are you and how old are you?
I'm 58.
And what religion?
I'm Christian. I'm from India. I'm Christian. I'm an Orthodox Christian.
Okay, I'm sure Justin would love to tell you about all sorts of problems in the Bible.
That I would. Mother Mary, why would we think that your God is real?
You say God's not real, na? So I just want to know that what is the basis, on what basis you say that God's not real?
Well, a couple bases. One, I would say like there's logical problems with God. So, for example, you're a Christian, right? So the Trinity
Yes.
is like a logical, it's just logically nonsense. And then other things like having a God that's outside of space and time. We talk about this a lot. Having God that's outside of space and time makes no sense if you want God to have some sort of causal power. As far as I can tell, without space and time, like if it doesn't exist, then neither do you.
Justin, what are you doing? You were thrown the Christianiest of Christians the opportunity to talk about the Bible, and here you are doing philosophy.
Well,
Yeah.
she asked me to back up the claim on the board. I asked her about the Bible. Or asked her about her God. She didn't want to talk about him.
Well, yeah, so you could say that her God's not real for other reasons, for Bible-y reasons, like you want to.
Oh my God! You can lead the Justin to water, but you can't make him drink.
Well, I'm following what she wanted. She wanted an argument for why God doesn't exist.
Because
I mean,
why?
Mother
You're all good.
Mary,
You're all good.
to be sure,
just
like
trolling.
Yeah,
your
wait.
specific God absolutely doesn't exist.
But why you're so you strongly believe that? You strongly believe? because that shatters everything, right? You're saying God's not real. So I'll say that there cannot be smoke without fire, right?
Well,
So if this man, Jesus, if he did not exist only, why is he talked so much?
the same way Muhammad was talked so much. They were real people. They're just not
Yeah, but
divine.
yes, but we believe in we our faith is in Jesus. So we are following him. We have learned about him, and
Yeah.
from my childhood, I've seen my father. That time I was not a believer as such. Like like my father used to go to church, so
Yeah,
we used
but
to accompany him. That time
just
we
because
didn't
you
have
learned
that
it growing
feeling.
up doesn't mean it's real.
No, no,
I grew up
no, no.
Christian as
What is
well,
coming to that? I'm
and I
coming to
was
that. I'm
Christian for a
coming to
long
that.
time, and then I discovered that it wasn't true, so I stopped being a Christian.
No, but you are saying you did not feel anything, so you stopped being a Christian,
No, I never said
right?
that. I didn't say anything about feeling things. This has nothing to do with my feelings. This is about facts, and the facts are that the Bible is demonstrably untrue, and
Where did you get
that
that facts?
I can just show you. It's not hard.
You may. Okay, say.
Did
Okay, just tell me.
you want to see them?
No, no. You are saying the one particular one reason. Can you give me like what was the main base that you
Oh,
came to the conclusion that God's not real?
well, I'm talking about Christianity right now. Christianity is demonstrably
Yeah,
untrue,
Christianity also.
and the Bible itself,
Hmm.
I think, is the worst problem for Christianity, other than the logical contradictions. So, like, would we still trust the Bible if we knew that it said a bunch of stuff that's not real, or it got history wrong, or it contradicted itself, or the predictions all failed? What would we say about that?
Predictions are wrong, but everything cannot be wrong, no, sir.
I didn't say everything's
Can
wrong.
everything written can be wrong?
I didn't
The
say
birth
everything's
of
wrong.
Jesus only was Jesus also was never existed.
But I never made the claim. Why do you keep saying this? None of us are mythicists. We don't
No,
believe that Jesus
no,
never
no, because
existed.
no, because see, when we are following, mostly our this is that we mostly read the New Testament, and that is the main our basis, our faith. Everything is based on Jesus only.
Right, but that's
Okay,
the problem is
so
you actually don't believe in
hmm,
Jesus' teachings because you probably don't follow the Mosaic law because Paul told you not to, but Jesus told you to do it. This is one of these huge contradictions I'm talking about. Like, it's really important to understand that if God said to follow this law forever, and then Jesus said to follow the law, then it would be incumbent on Paul saying, hey, you guys follow the law too. But he completely contradicts both Jesus and Yahweh on it.
hmm.
So, like, this is a huge theological issue. This isn't like, hey, rabbits don't chew cud. This is a major theological centerpiece. Does God want you to follow the Mosaic laws or not?
Hmm.
That's a real question I'm asking you. Do you think that God really wants you to follow these laws?
God has never said. See, sir, what happens is that when you from inside we get some feeling. There is some experiences that we get
What? No, no,
that
no, no, no,
makes
no.
us point that
I'm not
there
asking
is
you
a
about I'm not asking you about feelings. I'm asking you, do you think, according to the Bible, that God wants you to follow his perfect laws?
yeah. It's he says in some ways,
Okay, so is the answer yes?
yeah,
Okay, so do you follow the laws?
yes, most of it,
Most of it, really.
most of
When was the last time you stoned a child for cursing their mother and father?
no.
She's quiet on that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So this is a very important thing to answer. Do you think that children should be stoned for not obeying their parents or for cursing their
Oh
parents or
no,
striking their
never,
parents?
never,
But
never.
but why? God said you should, and so did Jesus.
Jesus never said that.
Yeah, he did. Want me to show you?
Jesus, Jesus said to stone.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Have you read Matthew and Mark?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take you first to Matthew 15. If you go to chapter 15, Jesus is being confronted by the Pharisees. I'll put it on the screen for you. And he's upset that they're not following Moses' laws. They're following this new law. They usually refer to it as the tradition of the elders. And this is really just the oral law. That's what he's referring to. He doesn't like it, doesn't want it, but he's stuck with it. Okay. Give me 1 second
Honor
to
your
put it.
father and mother. Whoever rebels and father or mother must surely die. But you say, if anyone tell his father or his mother, what you would have gained from me is given to God. He need not honor his father. So for the sake of your tradition, you have made void the word of God. He doesn't say to stone or something. He doesn't say that.
Yeah, he does. I'll show you. I don't know if you read the whole thing or were listening to what you read either, but so in the passage, it's very easy. We'll do a simple question and answer, and it'll elucidate the passage. So Jesus is criticizing them for what?
Because the Pharisee says that they do not wash their hands before eating. He answered them, why do you break the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition?
Right. Okay, so
For God said,
so he is
honor your
upset with
father
the
and mother.
Pharisees for what?
Because they are holding on to the tradition more, they are more into the tradition part of it.
Yes,
Jesus is not.
they're
He's,
more interested in their new laws, the oral law, and they're using their new laws to nullify God's laws. We agree?
yeah.
Okay. So what that means, first of all, is that Jesus doesn't believe in the oral tradition. He only believes in the Torah, the law of Moses. We probably agree there?
Yeah, because that is one of the commandments.
Okay.
No, honor your father and your
Okay,
mother.
now you're right, it is right there in the 10. So Jesus says, listen, your new law is nullifying the old laws, and that's bad. And then he gives an example of how that happens. And his example is from Exodus 21, where it talks about honoring your mother and father. And it says, whoever speaks evil of mother or father must surely die. But you say that whoever tells father or mother, so on and so forth. So what this means is that Jesus is picking an example of a thing that they're doing wrong and saying, look, here's a thing that you're doing wrong. He's saying, you're not following this law. This law to stone your children is what you should be doing.
Hmm. But that he did not. He meant in a good way, na. Whatever he said, I don't think he literally meant that to stone or to hit. What he said that the old tradition and all your is what you are following, like the rules you follow, but you the main essence you don't do.
No,
That's
he
what
didn't
he
say
wanted
that.
to convey. No.
That's a whole different verse. That's not what he's saying. He didn't say anything about main senses or secondary senses. He just said your new law is nullifying God's law. That's it.
They are coming for the sake of your tradition. For God commanded, honor your father and mother. Father and mother must
So
surely die. But
Jesus is reinforcing the idea that you have to follow God's law. God's law includes this one, this specific law.
But that is said by everyone, Paul and everyone. But then what Bible I am reading there I don't feel it is like in the bad way. I see the positive part of it.
Wait, what do you
Like
mean it's not in the
he said
Bible?
in a good way.
What's not in the Bible?
No, because he's saying that the tradition then Pharisees and scribes they came to Jesus from Jerusalem and said, why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? They are asking him that question. For they do not wash their hands
I'm
when they
aware.
eat.
Yeah. And then Jesus turns it back on them. See, their complaint is that Jesus is not following the new laws. That's their complaint. So then he shows them, no. I don't do this because these new laws are nullifying God's law, which are superior.
Sir, I don't know, but see, there may be contradictory verses and all, but then
Well,
in everything we
well,
can't say that
my
God is
point
not
is
real.
though,
Like, you know,
my point is pretty clear though. The fact that Jesus agrees with Yahweh on following the law of Moses, even stoning your children, is a huge problem for Paul because you follow Pauline theology. You don't
but
follow
then he also
Jesus.
said, no, but then see, when one person was stoning a lady,
Hmm.
so but then he said that he stopped there. Na?
I,
He said,
I'm
whoever has
I'm
sent,
aware.
not sent, you are the
I'm
one who
aware.
should say.
I know. I
Uh,
know. That's in John chapter 8,
so
and
that
that's
also
not
he
part
stopped,
of,
na, sir.
and that's not part of the Gospel of John. That was added 600 years later. And that passage doesn't say what you think it says. In fact, what Jesus, whoever wrote this story, what Jesus in the story is doing is two things. One, they weren't following the law. The law of Moses says you have to bring both the person A and person B when they're caught in adultery. It doesn't say you bring one of them. And then the other thing is Jesus didn't say don't stone her. What he actually said was, hey, if you stone her, you're next. That's what he meant by with he who is without sin cast the first stone. So
Yes.
he's basically challenging the Pharisees. If you want to stone this woman, guess what? Some of y'all are going to be next. But the reality is, this was never part of the biblical text. It was added way, way, way late.
So, but then that all points to his good nature. Na?
So,
Where he has,
well,
don't you think all the thing
no,
that was there in the Old Testament, he's not following all that. Na? He has
but
made changes. He said so many things. He has
but
made changes also. No,
yeah, but did Jesus say to follow the laws or not? Because
he said the good things. Good things he has
I'm
he has
I'm
always said.
I'm sure he did
He has
say good
always said that.
things. What does he say in Matthew chapter 5, 17 through 19?
Matthew chapter 5. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. But truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does not does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of.
There you go.
So the Ten Commandments is basically the Ten Commandments
No,
of Moses.
he did not say the 10 commandments. He said the law of
Hmm.
Moses. The law is all of it. It's not the 10.
Hmm.
So I guess I'll ask again, do you actually believe Jesus's words or not? Because if you don't think you should be following this law, it sounds like even you don't like Jesus.
No, I have never said I do not like Jesus, but because
Well, why do
whatever
you ignore
what
his
we are taught, we
instructions?
have listened. Not no.
You are. His instructions were to follow the law.
Most of the I never never followed instruction. Means what
It
is
sounds like you need to
what is not
start.
good, what my conscience does not allow me to do. So I
Your
don't do that.
conscience won't allow you to follow God's perfect law? How is that possible? I mean, it's perfect. Psalm 19:7 says, "The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The decree of the Lord are sure, or sorry, decrees, making wise the simple." Oh, so God's laws are, according to him, they're all good, every one of them. Like, why is this giving you trouble?
Fear of the Lord is pure, enduring. The law of the
Shouldn't
Lord is.
doing God's law be a delight?
God's laws are good in the sense that Ten Commandments. So that is
I
the basis of our this.
I didn't say anything
Apart
about the
from
10
that,
Commandments. I'm talking about the entire law.
Sir, entire law means, see, there may be things in the Old Testament which we also have a question mark, like why it was said in that time. We have that this, but in the New Testament, what we mostly read
Is
and
Paul.
follow more, yeah, Paul also,
Well, that's what I
and
said. You
the
don't
four
follow
Gospels.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So again, the Gospels don't say what you think they say. The Gospel doesn't say not to follow the law. Only Paul says that. James doesn't even seem to agree on that front. So this is obviously the problem that you're going to have. Is there's a huge contradiction. God and Jesus said to follow the law. Paul said not to follow the law. So which is it?
He doesn't say not to follow
Paul?
this laws.
Who?
Paul
Paul?
doesn't say like in that
Yeah, he
way.
does.
See, there whatever he has also said, the I'm getting it.
Go
James
to
and
Ephesians 2:14 and 15.
Ephesians.
I'll read it for you.
Come on,
So
man.
there's quite a few occasions where Paul just explicitly states that you're
Eph-
not bound by the law.
Ephesians.
Mhm.
Ephesians. Which one did you say?
Ephesians 2 verse 14 and 15.
For he himself is our peace, who has made us flesh, the dividing wall of hostility, by abolishing the law of commandments expressed in ordinances, that he might create in himself one new man in place of the two, so making peace.
Okay, so is the law abolished? Because that's what he says there in the verse. What he says, I don't know what translation you're in, but mine just says he has broken down the dividing wall that is a hostility between us, abolishing the law with its commandments and ordinances. So
But there are the things that they have said,
did he abolish it or
which
not?
are like. So, as per you, what are the commandments that they are thinking that they should be abolished?
All of
Which
them.
this Paul is referring to? Which
All of them.
commandments?
All of them.
But then he has again mentioned now in so many this the commandments that has to be followed and everything that he has mentioned this actually. Now I'm not finding it.
Paul
But
says
then,
that even he is not required to follow the law. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, he says it. It's or chapter 9, sorry. He says it. Let me grab the passage and put it up. So Paul, a fellow Jew, if anybody had to follow the law, it would have been Paul, a fellow Jew. He says, to the Jews I became a Jew in order to gain Jews. To those under the law I became as one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so that I might gain those under the law. Oh. So he doesn't think he has to follow the law of Moses.
in I think Hebrew is
The book of Hebrews is not going to help you either. The book of Hebrew disagrees with Jesus too. Whoever wrote that book doesn't think you should follow the law either. And there's other issues, right? If you go to Hebrews 9:22, there's a famous passage in here that whoever wrote it obviously didn't know what was going on in the Hebrew Bible, but he says, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. What? That's not true. God forgives people's sins all the time in the Hebrew Bible without blood. What's he talking about? And there's a couple famous examples, like some that I'm sure you know about, like when he forgives the Ninevites, or when he forgives King David for the Bathsheba incident. He forgives people's sins all the time. In fact, he forgave the sins of the Israelites as a group when he punished them in the Babylonian exile. He says, through their suffering, their sins had been made clean. So, like, you don't have to shed blood to get forgiveness. What's this author? What book is he reading? In fact, even in the Levitical law code, in the offerings for sin, if you offer a tenth of an ephah of fine flour, you can get your sins forgiven. Flour doesn't bleed.
But by the blood means it may be the blood of Jesus.
No.
Maybe that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Specifically the blood of animals is what he's referring to here. In
No,
fact,
that was not done, no, Brahmans.
he
That was stopped altogether, no?
I didn't hear what you said. In chapter 9 and chapter 10, he goes, whoever wrote Hebrews, is doing a whole diatribe about how the old law had to go away because it wasn't perfect enough. And one of the problems is that the blood of animals is not enough to cover the sin completely. You have to keep doing it, right? It says, thus it was necessary for the sketches of heavenly things to be purified with these rites, but the heavenly things themselves need better sacrifices than these. So he's saying the old sacrifices weren't good enough. They were a pattern of what is to come. And that pattern was supposed to be fulfilled in Jesus, but that's nonsense. There's nothing in the Hebrew Bible that would point towards Jesus at all. In fact, Jesus himself hadn't even read the Old Testament. He misquotes it, and I would say ignores passages all the time.
But we are only. But what about the positive things also written, no, sir?
What about
We
them?
are only highlighting that things. But can we say that everything is written is wrong?
I don't know why you would put that on me. I never said that everything in the Bible is wrong. What I'm saying is that
saying, no, God is not
the
here.
problem with the Bible is that it's demonstrably untrue. That's what I'm saying. If the Bible can't be
we can't say full thing is not true. It cannot be like full thing is not true, right?
Like there's lots of stuff in the Bible that's untrue. It gets it can't even tell you when Jesus' birthday was. Like in Matthew, he's born before
Sir,
Herod
that time,
dies.
in those days, there were no historians or such to note down everything, right?
It doesn't even get the year right.
Yeah, it's a decade off.
Because see, after Jesus died, because at that time there were like whoever became Christians, there were a lot of things happening. People were scared to come out also and say that they're followers of Jesus. And then
what's that
later
got to
on,
do with it?
after in the 80s, 70s, 80s, they started writing. They started writing the books.
I have no idea how you think this addresses what I'm talking about. Listen, I'm saying that the Gospels have a huge contradiction that I think is important, right? So if you go to the beginning of Luke, it says, in those days, a decree was sent out, or a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. Okay, cool. And you know what happens after this? They end up in Bethlehem, and Jesus is born in Bethlehem, right? Okay. So, yes or no? This means that, according to Luke, Jesus had to have been born after the census of Quirinius.
Because, sir, see what happens is that
I just needed a yes or no. Does this verse mean that Jesus was born after the census of Quirinius?
This is as per Matthew's.
This is Luke chapter 2.
Luke chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
In those days, a decree went out. The first. So what this differs, what Matthew writes.
Okay, so before we can move on, we just need a yes or no to the question, right? Does this passage in Luke entail that Jesus would have been born after, or at least during that census of Quirinius while he was governor of Syria?
Hmm. Yes, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, the problem is in Matthew, we get a different story. He goes, Jesus, Joseph, and Mary all go into Egypt shortly after Jesus is born because they have to go into hiding, right? So it says they were there for an unknown time period, and it says, when Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, get up and take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who were seeking the child's life are dead. Then Joseph got up and took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling in Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Okay, so this is a really easy timeline. Archelaus was the son of King Herod. This says that Jesus was born prior to the death of King Herod. That was 4 BCE. The census of Quirinius was about 6 CE. There's a minimum 10-year gap between these birth narratives. This is supposed to be the
So where
a
there
God
is,
breathed book.
but is it mentioned that the time is mentioned here?
Yeah, before the death of King Herod. So in the way of the succession, and I just want to make sure that we're 1 second that we're um, out. Imagining timelines in your head sometimes is hard, but it's Herod the Great. He dies. His son Archelaus takes over for him. Then, after about 6 years or so, a little over 6 years, Archelaus actually gets removed from his position by the Roman government above him, and that territory gets split up. And then Syria goes to a guy named Quirinius. He becomes governor of Syria. So it doesn't matter what year it actually was. We know that this was the order of events from many, many historical documents, including Christian's favorite, Josephus.
There were, yeah, Josephus and Tacitus has mentioned that, now that he was, because though they were hostile and indifferent to Christianity,
But
but they
hold
never
on, hold
said
on.
Jesus
Why,
didn't
Mother
exist.
Mary? Whoa, pay attention. Not once did I say Jesus didn't exist. Please stop bringing it up. No one here thinks that
Okay.
Jesus never existed.
Hmm.
We all think he was a real person. He's just dead now. Okay. So I don't know what AI model you keep reading from, but it's not helpful because it can't follow the conversation, right? So the problem that we have is that the Bible gets like basic fundamental facts wrong. When was Jesus born? No one fucking knows. Should you follow the law? No one fucking knows because it contradicts itself.
So by that, like, okay, there may be the what you say, the timeline may be different here and there. So on what basis, like, we can't say that the entire thing is not right. Whatever is written is false. Everything is false.
I didn't say everything was false. What I'm saying is it gets a lot of stuff wrong to the point that there's no reason to trust it. Like if the book gets basic stuff wrong, like when Jesus was born, I'm certainly not going to trust this book with anything else. If it can't tell me truth in one place, why would I expect it to tell me truth in another place? Why just assume that it's going to be true?
Yes, that's yours.
Like you wouldn't do that for the Quran, right? If you read the Quran and you found a bunch of contradictions in it, you're not going to think that's from the angel Gabriel, right?
Hmm.
It seems like you're giving preferential treatment to the Bible.
No, I've never read the Quran, so I can't comment on that. I've
Well,
not read any other religious books.
well, the Quran aside, I'm not specifically just picking on the Quran. I'm just saying that this, if you were reading, and I'm making an assumption here, if you were reading another book, I don't think it's likely that you would give it this amount of leniency. if you thought it came
Mm.
from God. So let me ask you a question. Why would, say, someone like me who likes reading texts and ancient history, why would I look at this particular book and think that it's telling me true things about the nature of God and reality?
Whatever we are reading and whatever like we are what we believe that, and there were some instances that made us have that faith also, which ultimately like we felt that it's we see we as you all are scholars in this
Well,
matter, we are very simple people, so we are not gone into that comparison part and all that. We have not done that so much of deep study. We all are scholars in that way. So whatever our faith is, that whatever our from our childhood, what we have seen, what we are believed, and some things we have experienced also, like it's a feeling. So
so
that's the like we have
it
never
sounds to
done.
me like your
Yes, sir.
belief is based on feelings. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay, so why would I believe something based on feelings? Because you get that in other religions. There's a lot of other religions that will tell you that the feeling you have is from the God of that religion. It seems like basing your beliefs on feelings is probably not a great way to do it.
No, because we are kept our when we pray, our in our heart we have an image. So that image is of a god, of a god. So without that we can't just pray. No, some image has to be there in our mind. It's not only
I'm
just
sorry,
reading the book and just
can you say that again? Because
religious books.
I'm not sure I heard what you said.
Yeah, what I said is that when we are praying from our heart, okay, so then we have an image in our heart about that to whom we are praying, okay, and it's just a conversation, and so like we are talking to a friend, so we have an image in our mind, so that image is of Christ,
That's your imagination.
not of my imagination, sir.
Well, yeah,
Not my
it's
imagination.
something that's in your head is in your imagination.
No, 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 it is not my in my head. You can't say that it's in my head or
You
somebody
just
has
you
just,
just
oh
said
no,
it
no, no, you have to
was.
pray, you have to know. No,
You
never.
said it was in your head, not me.
Had me means, see, sir, when you are praying, your personal talk with like a conversation with God. So that God, we have not seen the God. So, but our image
But
is of Christ
does God talk back to you? Have you heard his voice?
in other ways.
Because
In He has shown
so
me
how do you have a
other ways.
relationship with somebody that won't talk back to you?
Sir, see, now God is not somebody who will come in front of you and talk to you, no?
Well,
So
that's what I'm
he has
asking.
shown his
I'm
love.
asking.
Yeah, yes.
I'm not asking you to explain. Listen, I know that God won't come and talk to you. I'm asking, how do you have a relationship with somebody that won't come and talk to you?
By the feeling,
A feeling?
by the things that happens around me.
But
Like what? Go ahead.
couldn't any
So
religious
that is
person
very
of any
difficult for
faith
me to explain. It's very
couldn't
difficult because that is that moment when I'm praying, when I get that something, I get an assurance, something I get a feeling, which makes me relaxed, which makes
but
me my mind calm.
Mother Mary, there's a problem because people of other religious faiths have the exact same view. They have the exact same feeling of their God that they believe in,
So I don't say
communicating
they're
with
wrong.
them.
No,
Well,
I don't
but
say
they
they're
can't.
wrong. No, sir.
But the point
That
is
is
they
the
can't. Not all religions can be right simultaneously. You live in India.
yeah.
Surely, being a Christian is it can't be true that both various branches of Hinduism and Christianity are true. They are mutually contradictory, right? They can't both be true.
Yes.
So how
Yes.
could it be that that many Hindus feel an experience of God, but it's not the one that you believe in?
but I'll say that in India, they also Hindus never what do you say, more than Islam, they are more into Jesus. They visit the churches, they pray also.
So
Hindus,
what?
Christians never go, but they mostly they pray.
So what?
And so what means I'm not saying,
So what we're trying to figure out is why
the
is the
belief
religion
as you told
true?
me.
What would lead us to believe that this thing is true? If it's just based on feelings, and as Blitz was explaining, a lot of
No,
people
not only feelings, but
believe.
when the feelings come from, sir.
Well, how do you know where
How
they
the
come
feelings come
from?
from? Because of our what teachings, that what we have learned. See, that's what I said. We are not that deep
So, but
scholars
that's
as you are.
but that's what I'm saying. If you don't know, if you don't have a method for distinguishing your own internal thoughts and feelings and monologue from God, then it sounds to me like it's just your own internal thoughts and feelings. So, like, tell me what the method is. How can you know?
Because there are instances, like, in a very sad moments where I have felt very. There has been moments where which was very challenging, very this, but there I have got some assurance, some relief, something good happening at that time.
So what?
So that has made, sir. If
Do
I
you
can't explain to you
do you know
what
what the
is it
placebo
is
effect
like,
is?
Sorry.
Do you know what the placebo effect is?
No, no, sir.
Okay. The placebo effect is this really cool thing that it's been studied in psychology and medicine for a long time. If people believe something, they're more likely to um, behave or perform in a manner that is in line with their belief. So, for example, if you tell someone, this is a pretty popular study, it's been over 10 years now, but if you take gym goers or athletes and tell them that they're getting sports enhancing medication, they're getting steroids or something, and then you give them a placebo, meaning they're not getting anything, they'll still perform much better. And we've done this across the board in different types of environments, like even in lifting, and they always outperform the control group. And so what that means is that sometimes you do things because because you believe you can or you believe you will. So if you believe that God is going to speak to you and he's going to make you feel a particular way, well, when you pray to him, that's probably what you're going to feel.
What should I say now? Because I have never felt that way. As you say that it may be a psychological thing, as what you're saying, right?
Well,
Um,
yeah, it's pretty
it's a
pretty well
imagination or
known.
something like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So if your only thing you're basing your beliefs on is how something makes you feel, that's not a great thing to put your entire life on. Like your entire life is resting on I feel something.
But what harm it will do for me? Just tell me that.
Well,
Well,
Christianity,
look,
If it is a God, if
it's not.
it's a God, it's something I have put my hope on. Is it a bad thing?
Look, so Mary, we're not here to tell you, or at least I'm not here to tell you, that like it's going to make your life worse if you believe in a god. Depending on what situation you're in, what society you live in, what your financial situation is like, it could very well be something that's helpful for you personally. The question is not whether or not it is good for you or bad for you to believe that a god exists. The question is whether it's true.
According to me, what now, as of now, what I believe is that, like, I feel, yes, we are not seen. We have not seen. We have heard the gospel. We have, as we used to go regularly to church. What our priest preaches, and what we have heard about people talking about. Not people. There are people who are very much religious people, blindly following. There are people,
I what's that got to do with
youngsters
anything?
also. No, because then we never think the other partner, sir, that He's not there, he's not there, he's not there. That part never has come to our mind.
Sounds like
Maybe
more
now's the time to
feelings.
consider it.
Yeah.
So he's real or not, that how we can say.
Well, look, the
Because
best that we can do with regards to Christianity is we can look at what the text says, we can look at what the Bible says, and we can see if any of that makes sense with the way that we understand the world to be. We can see if it makes sense internally, like if it disagrees with itself, if it, makes obviously false claims, like a person was born yesterday, but the person was also born 10 years from now. And we can also look to see if what the Bible says is true about reality just isn't true about reality. And that's what Justin's been trying to convince you of, that there's like some serious issues inside the scripture that is what's leading you to believe that the scripture is true. So if there's serious issues in there, maybe we shouldn't be trusting the scripture.
Right.
yes. But actually today my son, he so I was not actually prepared for this conversation, but then
That's okay.
surely I would like to come back, more study, and then I will definitely come back again.
Absolutely.
Well,
Mary,
we're
so
I
now
would
around
just think
really
about
often.
like
what,
to have such wonderful conversation.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
just feel like, go ahead. So consider what Justin said, consider a little bit what I said, I said less. Think about it. I mean, like really think about it and come back and we can
Yes.
talk about it.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you for stopping by, Mother Mary.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, sir.
Well,
She might actually deconstruct.
that was my thought, is like she seems to be taking some stuff in and actually considering some of these things, which is like huge. So a big W for like being willing to actually engage. Okay. Well, friends, I don't think we've got time for another guest, but we do
We
have
don't.
some super chats still yet. Let me get those super chats. And then we'll close out. From Kurt, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says, I only call in to discuss my God when I'm sitting on the toilet. I mean, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the ideas are as good coming out of both ends.
sounds like a shitty God.
That's
Yeah.
good. That was a really good one. I think Dr. Blitz deserves like a high five for that one.
Do you?
Up top.
And from, wrong. No, I got that one. Kurt again. Sorry, there's two in a row from Kurt talking about ghosts in August. Come on, guys. Halloween is almost 3 months from now. You know what? Halloween should be a longer holiday. It's a fun one. Give it some respect.
If Halloween was Jewish, it would be like 8 days.
True.
Just
Fair
saying.
enough.
We have a lot of holidays that are like a week long.
enough.
Just saying.
Left-handed assassin, thank you for the $5 super thanks. And the Knights Who Say Knee, good to see you, says, always nice to see the Trinity, Prophet Justin, the Good Doctor, and Emperor Antonius Pius Ianus. Also enjoying the newly finely tuned wildfires. Woof! Choking on Ian's hog. I'm sorry you're up north by those wildfires. My goodness. That's a rough place to be.
They were brutal.
Yeah, definitely brutal. And also from Spaghetti, thank you for the $5 super chat. Why are the oldest copy of Paul's letters even considered a copy and not the original? There aren't any dates within them, if I understand correctly. Okay, Spaghetti, this is a more complicated question than you might be considering. The reality is, if we had originals of any part of the Bible, we would never know it. There's zero way to know if there's an original copy. They don't do like first round of printing, second round of printing. All you can do is date it using, the typical methods. When was the parchment from? What date range? What about the stroke that's used on the Greek letters? What about the type of ink that was used? These are ways that you can determine a rough time period, but you'll never be able to know what is the original. No such thing. We have nothing to compare it to. You'd have to have already a copy of the original to compare it to. That's part of the problem. We need Joseph Smith's golden plates. And from Dr. Joe, Executive Sober Coach, says, Mary struggles with abstraction and critical thinking and has several thinking distortions that disallow her from engaging with the content in a meaningful way. At least she's polite about it, though. Yeah, it was interesting. maybe she was nervous too, Dr. Joe, because it seemed like she wasn't as much listening to my questions as much as trying to move on to the next talking point. And so it was hard to get some back and forth. But I think we made some progress, actually. Good to see you, Dr. Joe. And Scribble Scrabble 99, thank you for the super chat, says the question is whether it's true and whether it harms other people or not. I mean, that's actually not the question we're asking. We're asking whether or not it's true, but on whether it harms people, yeah, it does.
I
Look at the
think that it
history.
can harm people depending on the scenario. Like,
Yeah.
and Ian brings this up all the time. Like, if you are struggling in such extreme poverty and such extreme, poor conditions that your life is miserable, believing in something, even if it's not true, but it makes your life just a little bit better to have hope, I think is totally fine, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I think of it like training wheels, certainly if your life is feeling like totally utterly meaningless to the point that you're thinking that you just like might be better off dead or something like that because your circumstances are so like completely unfathomably dire, I think it's like fine to have the training wheels on for a time like that. But for the rest of us that want to go beyond that point, for the rest of us whose lives aren't like in like unfathomably dire
Shambles,
states,
even.
yeah, like for the rest of us, there comes a point where it's time to take the training wheels off.
Right. Well, friends, thank you so much for being here. We are landing a couple minutes early. We really appreciate y'all. Thank you for supporting us and for being here for our streams. And also, don't forget that we have, and sorry, on the vertical you can't see this, the No God Tour coming up. Dates October 10th, November 13th, November 14th. And you can get tickets now. Go to pang-burn.com and you can come see us live. You can come debate us live in person. We can't mute you or anything. I'll be trying, but I don't think we'll be able to do it. So
somebody sent me screenshots from Cap's Discord.
Oh no.
While it was happening, we have Cap, type in here if you can see this. I can see it now. Word. Don't let Ian control the conversation. Okay. I'm finna bring up analyticity and start being bad faith. I don't care. Okay.
Based.
Cap there, Mike Mogging. Get louder. Voila, he nothing special. Treat this expletive like you would wound.
What the fuck is a wound? Is that a person?
I think it must be another person.
Oh, wow.
I can see it. Or, Cap, it might be risky, but start walking to the attic a little bit. When they investigate your view, take them into the attic. This is so funny.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. This is slang that I'm not. This is slang that I'm unfamiliar with.
This
Some
is good. Make your
super
objections.
insider.
Make your objections have a little meta baked into them. Also, press their burden so hard they concede.
Oh my.
Okay. So, gotcha. Just wants to kind of avoid taking any burden.
Like this is like mega bad faith. Like the mega bad faith rhetoric debate bros.
That is like super awkward to put that into writing in like a public Discord. I
Yeah.
think I might have stuck to DMs for that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Press their burden so hard they concede. Make them concede it's not a stalking horse. If the definition of a stalking horse, Cap, stay on this point and make them admit it's not a stalking horse. That'll be your first concession from them. Like, oh my god, this is really bad.
No. It's unfortunate because stalking horse is like. I don't think that there's very much literature at all on stalking horses. In fact, I don't think that there's like a clear conception of them. It gets talked about quite a bit in like these like informal philosophy spaces, not very much in the literature, which is not to say that it's not a good objection. It's a fantastic objection. I think it's just called like something else in the literature, or it's like usually what happens instead of saying it's a stalking horse is that you just describe what you're doing as like constructing a hypothesis that's like roughly equivalent.
By the way, I'm saving all of these images because they're so funny, and next time I talk to one of these KG types, I'm just gonna bring this up.
Yeah. I was
like
watching a
quality
debate
meme.
between I was watching a debate between I think like I was watching a debate between Islamic Apex and like one of the KG guys, and Islamic Apex said something so funny. He was like, usually these KG guys are good. They must have brought like the bench warmer.
Oh shit. That's fun. Well, listen, friends, that is the end of today's stream. Are y'all live later today?
I'm gonna be on the line PM.
Okay. Well, friends, make sure you're
which
watching the
show?
line later tonight. After dark,
Is that what PM means?
I assume.
Oh yeah, it is the line after dark. That's what its official name is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So later tonight, y'all tune in. I'll tune in, and we'll root on Ian as he destroys all the atheists that want to call in and talk philosophy. I assume
True.
that'd be a good time. Thank you for being here, friends. We'll see you soon.